Today's broadcast is brought to you by ClassicBaseballBroadcasts.com, your one-stop destination for thousands of authentic, vintage radio game broadcasts, interviews and highlights. Red Barber, Mel Allen, Vin Scully, Ernie Harwell, Kurt Godey are just a few of the Ford Frick Award-winning voices. There are hundreds more that will bring back childhood memories from back in the day when the game was always on. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd, relive the moments that made Baseball America's favorite pastime. Get started for free and step back in time listening to baseball's greatest moments.
We're just about set to go. A lot of emotion in this crowd today. You can hear them behind us. Efren Herrera cranking up the leg, getting ready to kick off. Here with the play-by-play this afternoon's game on the Cowboy Network, Frank Lieber.
Thank you very much, Brad, and we are ready to go. And deployed is the deep man, none other than Terry Metcalf, standing in single safety on the goal line up around the 10-yard line. The Cardinals have Wayne Morris, the ex-SMU star, and tight end Jackie Smith. And Tom Landry indicated that he would have Herrera and also Danny White, his punter, whenever possible, kick away from Terry Metcalf. So it'll be interesting to see what Herrera does on this opening kickoff. Temperature just over 60 degrees, cloudy, fog, drizzly day. They expected partly cloudy and sunshine and 75, but we don't have it. Awaiting the whistle from referee Fred Wide is Herrera. He's got it, and here we go. Advances, booms the ball deep. Metcalf will field it at the 1, straight up the middle of the 5, 10, 15-yard line, crosses the 20 up to the 24. And Metcalf is dropped at that point, and the Cardinals have put it in play first and 10. Making the stop for the Cowboys, rookie linebacker Mike Higman. So the Cardinals have put it in play with Tom Banks at center, Conrad Dobler and Bob Young at guards, Roger Finney and Dan Deerdorf the tackles. The tight end, J.B. Kane. Wide receivers, Mel Gray and Ike Harris, Terry Metcalf and Jim Otis, the running backs, and Jim Hart will be the quarterback. First and 10, St. Louis from its 24 as the Big Red moves up to the line of scrimmage. Gray wide out to the right side. Benny Barnes picks him up. Mark Washington, by the way, is starting in place of Mel Renfro, who still has a knee problem. Metcalf in motion to his left on the long count play. It is Hart throwing for Mel Gray at the 30 on the near sidelines. He's hit hard and bounced out of bounds, but not before he picks up 7 or 8 yards. Barnes making the tackle on him at the 33, making the 34-yard line. It'll be within a yard of a first down. Charlie Waters coming up with the assist. Dallas defense, Ed Jones, Jethro Pugh, Gregory and Harvey Martin up front, Bob Brunick, Leroy Jordan, and D.D. Lewis, the linebackers, and Benny Barnes, Mark Washington, Charlie Waters, and Cliff Harris, the deep back. Second down, a yard for the Cardinals at their 33-yard line. Early moments of the ball game, no score. Jim Hart calls the signal, spins, fakes, hands off to Otis. He's got cold. Otis stopped at the line of scrimmage and then shoved back by linebacker D.D. Lewis. No gain in the play. If anything, a loss of a half yard or so. Caught a third down, now a long yard needed for the first down.
Frank, on that particular play, we had a sort of a counter-type play. They were actually running to our defensive right or offensive left. Otis came back to this side. D.D. Lewis made an outstanding play, met him, and of course I think Otis may be a little bigger than D.D., but D.D. stood him right up and had a lot of help from the Cowboys. I think from the very inception here today, we saw a lot of enthusiasm on the opening kickoff, Frank, and it looks like it is going to be a game full of fireworks today.
Cardinals wanted the measurement and got it. It was really a lot closer than we thought. Instead of being a full yard, it's more like a foot needed for the first down. It'll be third down 1. Referee in the ball game is Fred Wyant, the umpire Tom Hedgley, the head linesman Leo Miles, the line judge Don Orr, the back judge Jack Steffen, and the field judge Fred Swearingen. Cowboys with a victory could pull out to a 2-game lead, virtually insurmountable in the NFC East, although they can't actually clinch a playoff berth today. Cardinals with 2 tight ends in there, digging in tough now on third down and a yard at their own 34. Long count play by Hart. He fumbles the snap, and he did not pick it up. However, we got a flag down. It may be a Cowboy offside. Let's see which way they call it. Hart tried to pull away from the center and fumble the snap and then simply fell on it for the loss. It's offside Dallas. And that gives the Cardinals the first down. So that's the kind of break that the Cowboys don't need, Bob.
Frank certainly is. That's, it's in a game like this especially, it's a kind of thing that might lead on to either a field goal or a touchdown. I've seen it happen many times that way. and you got to take advantage of your opponent's
Offside, defense, first down.
Yeah, we heard our man on the field tell us, as I was saying, anytime your opponent, such as Cardinals, makes a mistake like that, Frank, you gotta take advantage of it. We didn't do it that time.
So the Cardinals pick up the first down of the penalty. They have the football now at the 39-yard line at their end of the field. Otis and Metcalf, the setbacks behind Jim Hart, and we're set to go as Hart calls the signals. Page back to throw. First pass of the day, second pass, I should say. Far sideline, completes it to Ike Harris across the 45 to the 47-yard line. D.D. Lewis makes the stop a couple of yards short of the first down, but again, the Cardinals have got the Cowboys in that 2nd and 2 situation, which is right where they want them, Bob.
Well, that certainly is. I noticed that on the first play, Frank, and I thought, well, maybe he's going for a down and out for 10 yards. You know, most of the time you'll see a team try to get at least the first down, but what I think Hart's doing, I think their strategy is to get down around 7 or 8 yards on the play and have the surprise element coming up on the next play.
2nd down 2. Cardinals at their 47-yard line. They've taken the opening kickoff and held the football. Hart sends Metcalf in motion to the left side. Jim spins, fakes, hands off to Otis. He's got the first down. Crosses the 50, is into Dallas territory at the 47-yard line before Cliff Harris nails him at the far sideline. So that's the second first down in this drive for the St. Louis Cardinals, and one thing they do so well, Bob, is play that ball control because they don't have that strong a defense.
No, they certainly do. And, of course, as I started to say a minute ago, they're getting that 7 or 8 yards on the first down. You really don't know what they're going to do on second down because it's 2nd, 2 or 3. They can run or pass, and it puts your cornerbacks and linebackers in a real predicament, right?
Cardinals have Pat Tilley in at wide receiver replacing Mel Gray. Now, Gray's been bothered with a broken nose here. Missed 2 games up until last week before Washington. Here's a handoff to Metcalf, sweeps the right side, penalty marker down. He's inside the 40-yard line and down to the 35-yard line of the Cowboys. And I believe he's got another first down, but there were 2 markers down back at the line of scrimmage. And this one, I believe, will come back and be against St. Louis. Charlie Waters and Cliff Harris make the stop.
Well, again, Frank, I saw one play there. It looked like a possible tackle on Leroy Jordan, and I know in the first game when they played the Cardinals, Leroy told me that each time that, in fact, it looked like a tackle to me from behind. There was 2 calls on the play, but I do think that what the Cardinals try to do is they try to cut off pursuit, and if they have to tackle you, they do it. And so far they've gotten by with it, but they may have been caught this play.
Well, discussion going on near midfield with Cowboy co-captain Leroy Jordan. Undoubtedly, the Cowboys will take the penalty here. The gain by Metcalf resulted in almost 10 yards, and the holding penalty will send it back into St. Louis end of the field to the 38-yard line. Let's hear about it now from the referee, Fred White, as he gives us the call.
Illegal crackback, number 35 offense.
Well, it was called against Jim Otis, an illegal crackback block. And that cost him more than 10. That cost him the full 15. So the ball moves back to the 38-yard line in St. Louis end of the field. It's now first down 25. No score with 12:43 left to play in the opening period here at Texas Stadium. Hart brings it up to the line of scrimmage. Sends Ike Harris wide to the left side. He's got Pat Tilley split to the right. Here's Hart calling the signals, looking right in the eyes of Leroy Jordan. Fakes into the middle, back to throw. Gets it out to Metcalf. One-handed grab at the 40-yard line. Evades one tackler, gets up to the 43. Picks up 5 on the play. D.D. Lewis finally came in to make the kill for the Cowboys. So that will set up second down and 20 for the Cardinals. Well, Hart hasn't missed one yet. 3 out of 3 for 22 yards for the Cardinal quarterback.
Frank, he certainly had. And they're taking pretty good advantage of the Cowboy-type defense. We play the run normally on first down, second down and short, and they're throwing the ball on first down a lot. And, of course, on that particular play, they had a play-action-type pass.
Second down 20. Cardinals from their own 43-yard line. Steve Jones has come into the backfield, replacing Otis. Here's Hart back to throw. Cowboy rushes on. He drills it near sideline. Diving catch, and no, it's ruled incomplete. It's ruled a trap ball at the 45-yard line of the Cowboys by wide receiver Pat Tilley. Charlie Waters was back there defending, but they say that Tilley picked it up on the first hop. So it's an incompleted forward pass, and it puts the Cardinals in a third down, 20 situation.
Well, Frank, on that particular rush, I was watching Ed Jones rush in there, and he was using the power-type rush that I thought probably would work better against this team. He looked like he was a little bit high. We had a stunt in the middle from Jethro and Bill Gregory, but they had 3 men picking them up, so they did have a good pass protection on that time.
Let's see if the Cowboys can hold it here. 3rd down, 20. Cardinals at their own 43-yard line. Cowboys still haven't seen the football offensively. The blitz is on. Here's Hart being pursued. Gets the pass away. Incomplete. He had Aaron Kyle. He had Henderson. He had Cliff Harris coming at him. Cowboys are ruling that are trying to get a ruling that he dumped the ball, grounded the pass illegally. But the officials say no, but nevertheless, the Cowboys will get their first chance at the football. Maximum blitz that time, Bob.
Sure was a great blitz. They tied up all the guys in the middle. The 2 tackles grabbed 2 guys each, and it allowed the linebacker and the safety to come in. The thing was on that pass, rarely will a referee ever call a grounding, Frank, whenever the guys have him by the jersey or have a hold to the quarterback. Normally, it'll be when the quarterback's free and he just throws the ball out there inadvertently.
Terry Joyce in to do the punting. He's not had a good year for the Cardinals. Deep man is Butch Johnson. Gets this one away high and fairly deep. Johnson waiting at the 18-yard line. Heads to the far sideline, now cuts back to the middle. Across the 20 and hit at the 22-yard line and dropped at that point. So the Cowboy offense will see the football for the first time this afternoon with 11 minutes and 37 seconds left to play in the opening period following the 39-yard punt. There's a timeout of the field with a score. The Cardinals nothing, the Cowboys nothing. Dallas Cowboys football continues in a moment.
Chevy Chevette, it'll drive you happy. Chevy Chevette, it'll drive you happy. All that space is gonna put a smile on your face. It'll drive you happy. Check that bicycle and listen to your heart beat quicker. Chevy Chevette.
The Chevette scooter is happily priced, only $29.99. That's manufacturer's suggested retail price, including dealer preparation, taxes, license, destination charge, and available equipment additional.
Chevy Chevette, it'll drive you happy.
Chevette is rated at 43 miles per gallon highway, 31 miles per gallon city, with available 1.6-liter engine and manual transmission. EPA estimates actual mileage may vary. No American car has ever sported EPA mileage ratings like these before.
Chevy Chevette, it'll drive you happy. Chevy Chevette, it'll drive you happy. Chevy Chevette.
All right, here we go. 1st and 10, Cowboys ball at their 22. Pitch out. Staubach to Preston Pearson, wide to the right side. Caught behind the line of scrimmage. We get a penalty marker thrown. Pearson just does get back to the line of scrimmage where he is swapped by the red-shirted Cardinals. Leading the charge was Tim Kearney, the former Cowboy linebacker. And we've got a clip coming up against Dallas.
Frank, it looked like the play just took a little bit too long to develop there, and of course Jay Salty was over there. I saw him working real hard on his man, but I believe he's the one that was called for the holding or the clip, whichever it may be.
Cowboys started the ball game offensively with 2 tight ends in there. Salty was in there and Billy Joe Dupree. And now Salty comes out of the game, and Golden Richards, who is a questionable starter, is in the lineup for the Cowboys. The penalty walk-off moves the ball back. Clipping. Offense. So the ball is spotted back at the 10-yard line.
Exactly what we didn't want to see, Frank.
Cowboys in that long yardage situation, they got into that against Atlanta in the last quarter last week. And boy, it killed them. Here's Staubach bringing him up to the line. Preston Pearson and Scott Laidlaw are the setbacks. Roger hands off to Laidlaw. Hit at the line of scrimmage by Mike Dawson. And shoved back. No gain on that play. Dawson, big rookie tackle, the #1 draft pick of the St. Louis Cardinals with a fine defensive play as the Cowboys go nowhere. Cowboys started to get that running game going again against Atlanta, particularly Laidlaw, who picked up 88 yards, suffered a bruised leg muscle, and has not worked out that much this week.
Well, we had a pretty good hold there for a moment, Frank, and I believe the back was a little bit late in hitting. Blaine Nye did slip off of his man just a little bit soon, and had he stayed with his block maybe another fraction of a second, we might have had a real good play.
2nd down, 21. Cowboys at their 11. Injury report on Mel Gray. He was shaken up on that first series of downs, but probably will be back in the game. Here's Staubach, got him in the shotgun, and now Roger is going to call time. Roger took a look up and saw that the 30-second clock had run down to 1 second. And rather than take the delay of game penalty at another 5 yards, he called timeout. So Dallas obviously took a lot of time trying to get that play up. In fact, Roger hadn't even assumed the stance behind the quarterback when he looked up and saw the 30-second clock. There's a timeout on the field with the score. The Cowboys nothing and the Cardinals nothing. Dallas Cowboys football continues in a moment.
How would you like to go to Super Bowl 11? At Orion Magnavox, it's Touch-Tune Sweepstakes, with prizes totaling over $1 million. Come into Orion Magnavox, ask for a demonstration of the new Touch-Tune television, and you'll receive free an official sweepstakes entry card for instant savings and prizes. You could win an expense-paid trip for two to Super Bowl 11 in Los Angeles, California. Everyone's a winner at Orion Magnavox. Come in and enter now. Catch your star at Orion at Redbird Mall.
The Dallas Cowboys, super champions of football. In the tire business, there's a superstar named Vic Salvino to take care of your every tire need. And Vic Salvino has great deals on Pirelli high-performance radios for imports, sport, and all-American cars. Few products have gained such widespread respect in the automotive world as Pirelli. Hi, Frank Lieber to tell you to visit Vic Salvino Tire Company at 280 Preston Forest Village and 3307 West Mockingbird. And let his stars put a super Pirelli on your car. Second down, 21. Cowboys at their own 11. Up to the line of scrimmage in the shotgun. Staubach standing on the 5. Takes a direct snap. Blitz is on by the Cardinals. He gets the pass away. The diving attempt at the reception is incomplete. No good. Preston Pearson, the intended receiver, out around the 24-yard line. But he was covered very nicely by the Cardinals' Jeff Severson.
Frank, they had a very good play called in. Preston was wide open. The blocking was very good. The Cowboys looked like they started picking up the blitz from the shotgun formation. They're leaving an extra back in there, and of course the Cardinals did have a couple extra men coming, but they picked them up with no problem. Hopefully Roger can get on target here within the next play or two, and we'll see a few more fireworks from the Dallas Cowboy offense.
10:42 left in the opening period. No score, third down. 21 yards needed for the first down. Cowboys back at their 11, come out again in the shotgun formation. Staubach awaits the snap. This time no blitz on, but he's rushed, gets away, a pass in the end zone, fielded by Laidlaw at the 10. Loose football, fumbles at the 15. It is picked up by Sensabaugh, but it's going to be rolled. An incompleted forward pass. Sensabaugh ran it into the end zone, but fortunately for the Cowboys, it's going to be rolled incomplete, I believe.
Frank, once again on that particular play, we had a real good play, a good deceptive play set up. I think the thing that really hurt the play was the fact that one of the Cowboy linemen didn't hold his man quite long enough. You've got to keep him out at least 1 second to give the quarterback time. I'm not sure. I believe he's coming right over center there and put a little bit too much pressure on Roger. He had to throw the ball a little high, and so we had fortunately, an incomplete pass.
Laidlaw never got a handle on it, really, and that's why it was ruled incomplete. Here's Danny White, the punt. He's 4 yards deep in the end zone. 9-man rush by the Cardinals, who have Terry Metcalf back deep. Good snap, and they're playing return all the way. Metcalf waiting for this one as it angles toward the near sidelines. It goes out of bounds inside the 50-yard line, in fact, closer to the Dallas 40-yard line. So the Cardinals will come out of it here in excellent field position with a first down at the Dallas 41 as 30 yards on the punt by Danny White. There's a timeout of the field with the score. The Cardinals nothing, the Cowboys nothing. Dallas Cowboys football continues in a moment.
If your tire is losing mileage and the price of gasoline, if your car has lost its performance, it's just not running clean. If you want to help your problem, there's a quick and simple way. Fill her up with Champion. Fill her up with Champions today.
Right now, getting more mileage costs less during Champion's Better Mileage Sale. Buy 7 Champion spark plugs for most 72 through 75 American D8s, and you'll get one free. Fill her up with Champions now while the supply lasts at participating dealers displaying the Champion Mileage Sale sign.
You want to fight gas prices in the least expensive way. Fill her up with Champion. Fill her up with Champion today.
Frank Lieber along with Bob Lilly and Brad Sham at Texas Stadium. We have 10:29 left in the opening period. No score. But so far, the Cardinals have had the best of it. Cowboys have looked very sluggish once again and bothered by penalties. First and 10, Cardinals at the Dallas 41 after the 30-yard punt by Danny White. Cardinals are up to the line of scrimmage. Here's Jim Hart back to throw it. The rush is on by the Cowboys. Good protection over the middle. Incomplete. Intended for Pat Tilley at the 15-yard line. He really had to reach for it, and Cliff Harris made him pay. Mark Washington was also back there on coverage. That pass slightly overthrown by Hart, but his protection was excellent, Bob.
Well, his protection was excellent. Of course, Frank, as I mentioned earlier, I think the Cardinals are going to pass on first down a lot. They realize that the Cowboys are playing the run on first down and then on second short, as I mentioned earlier. And what they're going to do, they're just going to sit there on first down and pass. When they get into a second down situation, I expect we'll see an awful lot of play action type passes.
Mel Gray is still out of the ball game for St. Louis. Hart sends Tilley wide to the left side. His other wide receiver, Ike Harris, in the slot. Inside of Tilley, off to the left. 2nd and 10. Cardinals from the Cowboy 41. Straight handoff to Otis, looking for some running room. Tripped up at the line of scrimmage and stumbles forward inside the 40-yard line to the 38. It was Harvey Martin making the stop for the Cowboys. For the first time, the Cowboys have the Cardinals in the long yardage situation here with 3rd down 8.
Frank, that's what they've been looking for, and that was an outstanding play by Harvey Martin. Actually, he got blocked. He was going the wrong direction. He recovered, just barely recovered, and with one arm brought down Otis, who I'm sure is about the same size as Harvey.
Cowboy prevent defense is in there. That means Aaron Kyle, Randy Hughes, Randy White and company. 3rd down 8. Cardinals from the Cowboy 38. Hart back to throw it. Here comes the rush. He gets the pass away. Near sideline to Harris. Good for the first down, and he is knocked down at the 27-yard line. Ike Harris, a refugee from the World Football League who was originally drafted by the St. Louis Cardinals, played a couple of years with the Southern California team, and then came back and made it big with St. Louis last year. He's the leading pass receiver this year for the Cardinals, and on a big 3rd down and 8 play, they come through and have a first down at the Cowboy 27.
Frank, on that last play, we had a super rush from both of our defensive ends, but we had very little penetration up the middle, and that's why Hart just stepped right up and had plenty of time to throw the ball.
Cardinals driving, no score in the football game midway in the first period. St. Louis now in field goal range with a first down at the Dallas 27. Handoff Metcalf, he sweeps right. Lewis trying to run him down, and Dede bumps him out of bounds at the line of scrimmage. No gain. Good defensive play by Dede Lewis, making excellent penetration up the middle, and then stringing it out and refusing to let Metcalf turn the corner.
Frank, seemed like most of the running plays have been off tackle or around in, and of course on that particular play, Benny Barnes was the man who actually contained it. Dede Lewis kind of what we called hunted down the line. We used to call it going from hole to hole. They're hunting, but he did a great job coming over. Benny Barnes stopped the play, and of course Dede made the tackle.
Officials mark it at the 28. That means a loss of a yard. 2nd down 11 for the Cardinals at the Cowboy 28. Pat Tilley wide to the right side. Ike Harris in the slot inside of him. Steve Jones has replaced Otis as a running back. Here's Hart back to throw it. Again, the rush comes and blocks. The pass is blocked by Ed Jones. Newcall penetrated and blocked that thing right back into the face of Jim Hart. Incompleted forward pass. That's up 3rd down and 11. And again, the Cowboy prevent comes on.
Frank, they had a super play set up. What they were actually doing that time, it was a screen play, and they had 2 linemen already out. They had to keep Jones from making too fast a penetration, and what he was going to do was delay it a little bit, throw it over Jones's head, and or run him on by the quarterback, which they didn't do. Jones jumped up, knocked the play down, and put the Cowboys in a good position here on 3rd down.
All right, Ike Harris wide to the right side. Barnes comes up to meet him. Tilley is split to the left. Mark Washington up on him. 3rd down 11. Cardinals at the Cowboy 28-yard line. Cowboys trying to hold him. Hart. Here comes the blitz. Back to throw it. He gets it away. It is incomplete. At the feet of Ike Harris, as again Hart was hurried by the maximum blitz of the Cowboys on 3rd down. Aaron Kyle. Henderson really flew through there and harassed him.
I think the Cowboys have probably been going back through some of the old films, the old Cardinal films that we used to have. Anytime you put quick pressure on Hart, he does have a tendency to just throw the ball up for grabs or throw it away, and that's what he's done each time we've had a pretty good rush on him here, Frank.
Worley will hold, and Jim Bakken will try a 45-yard field goal. He'll put it down at the 35-yard line. Tom Banks over the ball. Here's the snap. It's a fake. Here's Worley rolling out to his right, driving for the first down. He did not make it. No, sir. The Cowboys run him out of bounds at the 19-yard line. Dallas takes over. D.D. Lewis saved it. Had he not gotten over there, Worley was was trying to tightrope the near sidelines, and boy, he darn near made it.
Frank, he was tight walking that sideline as well as I've ever seen anyone. In fact, it could have been either way. I think he did step out, but it was barely. And, of course, Dede just barely pushed him. Yeah, he did. He went right out. That was a fantastic play by Dede Lewis. I don't think they expected that at all, Frank.
So the Cowboys stop another Cardinal threat. It's first down Dallas with the ball at the 19-yard line. Here's Roger Staubach feeding the ball to Preston Pearson. Tries the right side and knifes forward to the 23-yard line. Cowboys obviously feel the Cardinals can be run on. You recall last week, Mike Thomas of the Redskins picked up 195 yards rushing, set a Redskin team record against St. Louis.
One thing I've noticed about the Cardinals when they play Dallas a little bit different than they do most teams, Frank. The linemen don't charge as aggressively as they do against most teams. They seem to stay at home, sort of wait for the play to come.
Pick up a 4 by Pearson. It's second down 6 for the Cowboys at their 23. Golden Richards starts in motion from left to right across the backfield. Here's Roger Staubach. Back to throw. Looks to his right. Goes to Drew Pearson. Diving catch for the first down for Drew at the 30-yard line. Looks like he just has it up for the first down. And that'll be the Cowboys' first down of the ball game. Roger Worley over there to cover him and shove him out of bounds. Immediately in front of the Cardinal bench beneath us.
Frank, I'm certainly glad to see that kind of timing redevelop between Roger and his receivers, because that is a very difficult pass to throw. It looks rather easy, but it's a timing type throw, and I'm just happy to see that. That's just beyond the first down mark, and I know that's what the Cowboys are trying to do.
That's Staubach's first pass completion of the day. He's 1 for 3. First and 10 from the 30. Straight handoff. Laidlaw up the middle to the 35-yard line. Strong 5 yards on some hard running by Scott Laidlaw. Mark Arneson, number 57, and Mike Dawson making the stop for the St. Louis Cardinals. It'll be second down 5.
Well, we had some outstanding blocking there by Blaine Nye and John Fitzgerald. I feel like the Cowboys' best running game really is right up the middle. They've got some big, strong guys in there in the middle of the line. The head-on-head blocking the Cowboys are very good at it, and those quick plays, I think, will work against the Cardinals a lot better than the finesse.
Laidlaw apparently took a pretty good shot. He's out of the ball game and is replaced by Robert Newhouse. Second down 5 from the 35. Handoff Preston Pearson over the right side. Drives out to the 37-yard line. That'll set up third down 3. We get a little scuffle down there after the whistle as the ball popped out free. Charlie Davis, the left tackle, former TCU Horned Frog, Robert, making the stop.
Well, there's a few of them around.
There certainly are. A couple of them left down there. Third down, Cowboys will need just under 3 yards for the first down with the ball at the 38-yard line. In their end of the field, this has been the Cowboys' deepest penetration so far. 6 minutes and a few seconds left to play in the opening period. No score. Teams kind of feeling each other out here in the opening quarter at Texas Stadium of this crucial NFL East battle. Here's Staubach faking to Pearson. Back to throw. Good protection to Newhouse. Newhouse with a diving catch. Rolls out of bounds. Has the first down at the 43. Bob had to go up high for that one. Pulled it down, and his own momentum carried him out of bounds, but not before he picked up the first down.
Well, that was a great throw and a great catch by Robert Newhouse. Of course, Robert's a little bit short, but he jumped up and made a super catch. I think Roger came off of Drew Pearson and came back to Newhouse and knew that he had enough for a first down there. They are trained to the relief valve, to get down far enough to get the first down, Frank.
Second first down of this drive for the Cowboys. They're now at their 43-yard line. First and 10. Still no score in the football game. Staubach has him out of the eye. Hands off to Preston Pearson. Second man through. Hit at the line of scrimmage. Bounces forward for maybe a yard. It'll be second and 9. Let's pause 15 seconds for station identification. This is the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Dear Sacrete, my wife pesters me about the cracks in our walk. What can I do?
Dear pestered, use Sacrete concrete mix and patch things up.
Sacrete, the original weekend wonder.
The voice of the Cowboys. This is KRLD Dallas.
Scott Laidlaw back in the game for the Cowboys, replacing Newhouse. It is second down 9 for the Cowboys from their 45-yard line. Staubach straight back to throw. Good protection for Roger. Now he sees it open. He's going to run it. He's to a 50, down to a 45, and slides forward to the 42-yard line. Mike Dawson, the big defensive tackle, stumbles over him, and that draws some boos. No penalty marker from the officials. 14-yard pickup on the play.
Frank, I believe we have a flag on this sideline. I'm not sure whether it was interference with the receiver or whether it was...
That was against the Cardinals. Cardinals. In that case, the Cowboys will probably decline the penalty unless it is indeed bumping on Staubach. And that will be the case. So it'll be another 15 yards. Backed on at the end of the penalty, which will move the ball down to the Cardinal 25, and we'll get the ball.
Whistle foul, number 36, defense. First down.
Ken Reeves of the Cardinals guilty of the personal foul. He was not involved in that little altercation with Staubach. It was Mike Dawson who tripped over him, and the fans thought perhaps a personal foul should have been called there. But a 14-yard pickup on the scramble and 15 additional on the personal foul puts the Cowboys in great shape at the Cardinal 25 with a first down. Here we go. Roger Staubach hands the ball to Preston Pearson, and again, he's hit hard as he crosses the line of scrimmage, squeezes through for perhaps a yard. It'll be second down 9.
Frank, what we've got the Cardinals playing a very, very basic defense, just a 4-3 type defense. And as I said earlier, their tackles don't seem to be going anywhere on a running situation. They're just staying where they are. They're trying to take up the blockers, and they've got their linebackers coming in there to help out, and that's who's making most of the plays. They're stacking it up. The linebackers are making the plays.
Second and 9. Drew Pearson wide to the right side. Golden Richards in the slot inside of him. Laidlaw and Preston Pearson in the eye. Here's the pitch to Preston Pearson. Cuts back in to the 20. Tries to get outside to the 19-yard line. Looked for a moment like he might break it for a big gainer, but Ken Reeves came up to make the stop for the St. Louis Cardinals, and the Cowboys are faced with a third down, and looks like a long 4 needed for the first down at the Cardinal 19.
That was almost a shovel play, Frank. And I think the Cowboys realize that Preston is at his best when he's kind of running in open field, whether he catches the ball in open field or whether it's a shovel pass or whatever it may be. And he made a real good move on that play to pick up as many yards as he did.
Tough situation here for the Cowboys. Third down and a long 4 with the nose of the football just inside the 20-yard line. Pearson wide to the left side, and Richards in the slot inside of him. Billy Joe Dupree is flanked out to the right. Roger back in the pocket to throw. Protection is good. Sees an opening up the middle. He's to the 15, the 10, the 5. He is down to the 2-yard line. First down, goal to go. One of the Cardinals, Mike Sensabaugh, wrestled the ball free. And it looked that time like Roger Staubach was hell-bent to go for the goal line. He wrapped those arms around the football at about the 5 and tried to make like O.J. Simpson for all the world.
Frank, one thing about Roger, he had plenty of time there, but there's one thing about Roger. Anytime he has a bad game, you can look for anything the next week. And I think today that he is so determined. He knows he's not going to throw the ball away this week, and he is so determined that he'll run, and I don't think he cares if he runs into a tank.
All right, here we go. Cowboys up to the line of scrimmage. Staubach signals for quiet. First down, goal to go from the 2-yard line. Roger calls the line down. Hand off to Pearson. Pearson is stopped at the line of scrimmage for no gain. Well, he keeps sending Pearson up the middle, and he doesn't find any room at all up there, Bob.
Well, of course, down here, Frank, it's pretty tough. They've got about an equivalent of 7 men on the line of scrimmage, and basically it's a one-on-one. It's one lineman of ours against one of theirs, and a lot of times you just don't know which way they're going to charge. That particular time, I believe the charge was inside, which was the way Preston was going, and had Roger maybe lateraled out, I think it would have been a touchdown, Frank.
Second down, goal to go. Wallace and Scott alternating plays from the bench. Staubach calls the line down for the Cowboys. He's set, barks the signals. Roger fakes, goes back to throw. He's got Laidlaw wide open. Touchdown! He sent Laidlaw out of the backfield, and no one was within 12 yards of Scott Laidlaw. In the near corner of the end zone, he caught the ball at the 1 and simply backed up into the end zone.
Well, we definitely had a mistake on that play, Frank. They had a man, the cornerback, actually coming in to contain the play, and Laidlaw really never faked the block or anything. He just went on out into the flat. No one covered him, and it was a very simple play.
Great 80-yard drive by the Cowboys as Herrera comes on to kick the extra point. We get penalty markers all over the place. Efren bumps it through, but hold everything. They get all kinds of markers down. Took the Cowboys 11 plays to travel 80 yards. Actually, just a shade more than 80 yards. Illegal procedure against Dallas will move them back 5 yards, so they'll try the extra point from 5 yards further back. Herrera has not missed an extra point try this year.
Frank, there's another example of a mistake, and those kind of
Number
mistakes
73,
you can always miss the
offense,
second time.
offside.
You know, those are the things that kill you. You just can't afford to do that.
Ralph Neely guilty of the false start, so now Herrera ready to go again. Waters puts it down. Kick is up. It is good. He's got it. There's the time out of the field with the score. The Cowboys 7, the Cardinals nothing. Dallas Cowboys football continues in a moment.
For safety, style, and comfort, finish Chevy's measure up. Better mileage, ride and handling, finish Chevy's measure up. Just drive on the Chevy and you'll see it's true. The 77 Chevy's measure up to you.
Chevy excitement is back, and at your Dallas County Chevy dealer showroom now. For 1977, the all-new Caprice and Impala models have more headroom, more rear seat legroom, more trunk space, and get more miles per gallon than our 76 cars. And the place to see and drive the beautiful new Chevrolets is the showroom of a participating Dallas County Chevy dealer. They really measure up to what you expect when you buy your new car. See the new Chevrolets at Friendly Chevrolet, Duran Chevrolet, or Stakely Chevrolet today. Chevy for 77. Now that's more like it.
So get a new Chevy, there's one just right for you, and your Dallas County dealers measure up to you.
I measure up. Frank Lieber along with Brad Sham and Bob Lilly at Texas Stadium. 1:51 left to play in the opening period, and the Cowboys are first on the board with points. 7-0, Dallas leading as Herrera prepares to kick off from right to left. As we view the action, Terry Metcalf standing on his 3-yard line. In front of him at about the 14 are Wayne Morris and Jackie Smith. Herrera awaiting the whistle from the referee, Fred Wyatt.
Frank, I'm kind of expecting pretty tough coverage here. I saw some pretty good coverage the first kickoff.
Good kick, very deep. Driving Metcalf a yard deep in the end zone. Straight up the middle. 5, 10, 15, out to the 20-yard line. It hit at the 23. That's pretty tough coverage, like you said. Thomas Henderson, number 56, was the first man down. Cardinals 1st and 10 at their 23-yard line.
Frank, I'll tell you, the young guys on the Cowboy team seem to be fired up this week. They're really going down on these kicking teams, and the first kickoff was just about like the last one. I think this one might have even been better if a couple of them had to slid down.
Let's talk a little bit after this play about what Staubach is doing this afternoon, starting to scramble, which we haven't seen him do in quite some time. It'll probably loosen up the Cardinals. He's kind of reverting back to nature again, the thing that comes naturally to him. 1st and 10, Cardinals at the 23, handoff Metcalf, squirts up the middle across the 25 and out close to the 30-yard line before D.D. Lewis makes the stop. Pickup of 6, 2nd down 4.
Well, that was a very fine play. What that was, basically, Frank, was just a trap play. The off guard came across, knocked Ed Jones out. The center went on Leroy, and they came right up the middle with the ball. But getting back to Roger Staubach, I think it's really a great thing that he chose today to come back with his scramble because it's going to keep him loose all day.
2nd down 4. Metcalf comes out of the ball game. They've got Otis and Steve Jones now as the running backs. Hart calls the signals. Jim fakes, hands off to Otis. Otis is caught at the line of scrimmage. Drives forward, maybe gets a yard or so. Good defense by the Cowboys that time as Larry Cole corrals Otis at the 31-yard line. That'll set up 3rd down, and still 3 needed for the 1st down.
Well, that was a great play by Larry, Frank. He had what we call an outside call on, and actually, I think the guard anticipated that Larry would go inside. When he didn't, Larry was really free and made the play with very little trouble.
Let's see if the Cowboys can hold him here on the 3rd down situation. Cardinals are 2 out of 4 on 3rd downs. They have the ball at their own 31-yard line, trailing 7-0. Hart up to the line of scrimmage, ready to go. Handing off to Metcalf, sweeps the right side. Metcalf trying to pick up the 1st down, and he may have gotten it, but he is punished on a tackle at the 35-yard line. Cliff Harris and Benny Barnes submarined him at that point as Metcalf just took off into air to make sure he had enough for the 1st down, which he did. So the Cardinals 1st and 10 at their 35-yard line.
Well, that was a great play. I don't know. I watched Ed Jones again on that play, and he disappeared out of the picture, Frank. And I don't think we had real good containment on that particular play.
There's the gun. That signals the end of the quarter with the score: the Cowboys 7, the Cardinals nothing. Dallas Cowboy football continues in a moment.
Saturday,
special day of the big game is now the day of the big treat. Yes, this Saturday, bring your family to Jack in the Box for an after-the-game meal they'll never forget. Try a Jumbo Jack hamburger, a Jack Steak sandwich, a Super Scoop of golden French fries, a Super Taco and Coca-Cola, vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry steak. Those are just a few of the things you'll find at Jack in the Box to make your big treat really big. And with every big treat, you'll get big service. Most Jack in the Box restaurants are open 24 hours a day. And with our drive-through service, you don't even have to get out of your car. After the game, stop into a Jack in the Box for your big treat and make life a little easier.
Clothing for the members of the Dallas Cowboy radio broadcast team is provided by Outfitters Men's Clothing at North Park. Outfitters, what if we were right for you and you didn't even know it? Frank Lever with Bob Lilly, Brad Sham at Texas Stadium. We're into the second period. Cardinals have a 1st and 10 at their 35-yard line. First quarter stats just about dead even. Dallas at 64 yards total yardage. The Cardinals 61. So for the most part, pretty much of a defensive game. Jim Hart so far has hit 4 out of 9 passes for a total of 34 yards. Roger Staubach 3 out of 5 for only 13 yards. But Rodgers had a couple of big rushes, 2 scrambles, which netted the Cowboys 31 yards and which set them up for the touchdown. Here we go. Cardinals up to the line of scrimmage. Pat Tilley wide to the left side. He's still in there for Mel Gray, who was shaken up in the first series. That's quite a weapon for the Cardinals to lose if he can't come back. Here's Jim Hart straight back in the pocket to throw. Near sideline, almost intercepted. Mark Washington made a grab for it. So did Tilley. They both were down on the ground. And let's see if they rule it a catch or an incompletion. I believe it's going to be ruled incomplete. Or will it? No. They'll give him the gain on it. Very short yardage on the gain out to the 49-yard line. His back was to us, so he really couldn't tell. To pick up a 4 yards in the play, it'll be 2nd down 6 for the Cardinals at their 39. Washington had an excellent shot at an interception there. He and Tilley both dove for the ball. Tilley obviously came down with it. Cardinals 2nd and 6 from their 39-yard line. Jim Hart calling the signals, back in the pocket to throw. Cowboy rushes on. Throw to Tilley, complete across the 50-yard line to the 47 of Dallas. And he is dropped over on the far side, this time by Benny Barnes. So the Cardinals flip-flopping their receivers around. Sometimes Tilley works on Benny Barnes. Other times he works on the other cornerback, Mark Washington.
Frank, I think the Cardinals are using the first down pass much like most teams use the first down run. They're trying to get field position. Then they got the second down, as we said earlier, to come back and go for the pass or go for the run. And either way, they're going to catch you off balance just a little bit.
Officials mark it at the Dallas 46, 1st and 10 for the Cardinals, who are ready to put the ball in play again. Hart handing off up the middle, straight handoff. It goes to Otis, who gets it inside the 35 and down to the 31-yard line. They pick up a 4-yard. Make it Steve Jones in that last play. Pick up a 4 yards. Larry Cole and Charlie Waters make the stop. It'll be 2nd down 6.
Frank, the Cardinals had 2 basic plays. One up the middle, of course, and the other outside. And they're working both of them with pretty good execution right now, as well as their short passing game.
Cowboys try to dig in, stop this drive. 2nd down 6 for the Cardinals at the 42-yard line of Dallas. Metcalf starts in motion from right to left across the backfield. Here's Hart handing off to Steve Jones, trying to sweep outside, and he's caught at the line of scrimmage. And filled by Leroy Jordan. For no gain in the play. Mark Washington came up to help.
Well, that was a great play by Mark Washington. He was the one that actually contained the play, and of course the pursuit made the play. I did get a glimpse in of what they're doing to the defensive end, and on Harvey Martin, they're actually lead blocking. They're jumping. Since the offensive man does have the count, he's getting a little bit of jump on Harvey and Ed, the tackles are, and they're getting position on them, cutting them off from pursuing down the line of scrimmage.
Well, the Cowboys have been blitzing on 3rd down and long. Let's see if they do it this time. 3rd down and a little more than 5 for the first down for the Cardinals.
at the Dallas 41-yard line. Dallas with the prevent defense in there. No blitz this time. Hart straight back in the pocket to throw it. Flips it out. The pass complete to Jones, and he's got it up for the first down, I believe, at the 35-yard line. Aaron Kyle was trailing the play out there along with Benny Barnes, but neither could get to Jones before he caught the football, and that's another St. Louis first down.
Well, there's no question that Hart is hot today. He's throwing the ball extremely well. He's got plenty of time to throw the ball. We did have a blitz on that last play, Frank. It was a delayed blitz. I think it's sort of an actor-type blitz, we call it. Thomas Henderson was in there. He faked it. He came off. Then he hesitated one count and then took off. But he got bumped off just at the last minute, or he would have trapped Hart.
Dallas leading 7-0, but the Cardinals are moving with 11 and a half minutes left to play in the first half. First down at the Cowboy 35-yard line. Here's Hart again, back to throw. Pumps it once, floats it out. He's got Harris at the 20. And out of bounds at the 13-yard line is Ike Harris. But we've got a penalty marker back at the line of scrimmage. A flag is down on the play, and we will get a personal foul call against Dallas. So the gain in this case and the penalty will be about the same, I believe. Either way, the Cardinals are going to be in great shape with a first down around the neighborhood of the 15-yard line, actually inside the 15. The officials ruled that Harris was down at the 12. So the Cardinals will decline the penalty. Well, let's see if it's going to be tacked on at the end of the play. That will be the case, and now the ball is moved inside the 10 to the 6.
Personal foul, head slap, number 63, defense, first down. Well, that was Larry Cole getting the call for the head slap, and the way the offensive line of the Cardinals are holding, I don't blame him. I think maybe next half I'd tape a little piece of steel inside my hand or something, Frank. Might not be a bad idea.
First down, goal to go. St. Louis at the Dallas 6-yard line. Jethro Pugh, by the way, has a bruised shoulder, but should be back in the game. He is not in there right now. Bill Gregory is replacing him. Cardinals at the line of scrimmage. Handoff Otis to the 5, maybe the 4. And the middle is jammed up at that point.
Well, that was a great play by Larry Cole. He shot through the gap that time. I guess he got kind of mad about the penalty, but he was in there before Otis had the ball hardly. And, of course, Otis being as big as he is, drug him for about a yard gain, I guess, Frank.
The officials mark it at the 4-yard line. It'll be second down, goal to go at that point. There's Cliff Harris coming out of the ball game, and so is Mark Washington. Cowboys put in a couple of beefier linemen. Cardinals ready. Hart sends Metcalf in motion off to the right side. Fakes, hands off to Jones. Jones is over for a touchdown. However, we've got a marker down, and I think we've got a holding penalty. Yes, against St. Louis. So wipe out the touchdown on the holding call. Jones took the handoff, slid off the left side, and made a very determined run for the goal line, and just did get in, but wiped it out because the Cardinals have been called guilty of holding. And we'll get the word here in a moment from referee Fred Wyatt.
Holding, number 88, offense.
That's J.V. Kane, the tight end. And that throws the ball out to the 14-yard line. That's about as big break as you could get, Bob.
That's certainly an extremely big play for the Cowboys, and there was no question about the holding on that play because I have been watching both the ends, and that's what they're trying to do. They are using a little advantage by holding there, Frank.
Billy wide to the right side. Benny Barnes comes out to meet him. Rest of the tee in tight for the Cardinals. Second down, goal to go from the Cowboy 14-yard line. Hart calls the signals. Drops back into the pocket. Rushes on. Gets the pass away. It is incomplete at the 10. We get a marker down, and I think now we're going to get a pass interference call against Randy Hughes, which will give the Cardinals a first and goal at the 10-yard line.
There's no doubt about that play. I saw it all the way, Randy Hughes. They had good pressure on Hart, but pass interference, number 42 defense, first down. Although the ball possibly would have been overthrown, he cut him down. No, it would have been a perfect pass. I guess he decided he had to do what he had to do.
Well, possibly save the touchdown with the interference call, the way he was
very likely. Might have been an outstanding play.
First down, goal to go. Cardinals have the ball at the Cowboy 10-yard line. They've had that ball for a long time. Cowboys have had only 2 possessions in this game, although they lead at 7-0. Here come the Cardinals. Hand off Otis, right side down to the 5, to the 4-yard line, perhaps. There's Steve Jones Leroy Jordan on the stop.
Well, they're going around those ends with a lot of horsepower, Frank. They've got probably the biggest offensive line and one of the strongest offensive lines in pro football. And they lead with two guards and Big Otis around the end there blocking on you, as well as the onside lineman. You've got a lot of people coming at you.
Otis having kind of an off season for him. He rushed for better than 1,000 yards last year. He's a cast-off. They picked him up on waivers from Kansas City. Second down, goal to goal, nose of the ball just inside the Cowboy 5. Hart, hands off. Jones to the 5, to the 4, 3, 2, 1, touchdown. Jones plowing over the left side, and the touchdown that was denied him a moment ago, he picks up. And that makes it a 7-6 ball game with the extra point try to come. Well, they made it look easy that last two plays, Bob.
Well, I'll tell you, if you notice, Frank, these guys are great blockers. Their fullback is a great blocker. Their tight end in there is a good blocker, and their lead guard that's coming around is a good blocker. They're all cut blocking, and they just follow through with the block, and that takes the defensive man right off his feet.
Lockett with the extra point try. It is up and it is good, and we've got a tie football game. There's a timeout on the field with the score: the Cardinals 7 and the Cowboys 7. Dallas Cowboys football continues in a moment.
And along came a spider. Along came a spider.
Spider, a road machine that'll get up and get after it. It's a Chevy Monza 2+2 plus steel-belted Blackwall radial tires and a sports steering wheel, plus the special Chevy F41 sports suspension package, plus a lot of other good things. Get it together with the available 5-liter V8 engine, buckled to a stick-shift or automatic transmission. Add front and rear spoilers, and you've got your hands on a Spider. It's not for everybody, but if the velvet beat of a V8 is playing tunes in your head, then it's for you. Along came a Monza Spider from Chevrolet. See what that does for your curtain away.
Mind bender, world leader, automatic compound leader, spider. Along came a spider, Monza 2+2.
9 minutes, 50 seconds left to play in the first half at Texas Stadium, and we're right back where we started. The Cowboys 7 and the Cardinals 7.
Frank, it's just been brought to my attention that we've had a slight rain going on here for the last 15 or 20 minutes. And this will sometimes hamper the smaller, quicker football players.
Now, you can't really see it, so really must be more of a mist. Here's the kickoff. Bakken boots it deep. Puts Johnson at the 5. Far sideline, 15, 20, 25, 30. Still on his feet and finally stopped at the 35-yard line. Butch Johnson, one of the top kick returners in the National Football League. Brings it back to the 35, and the Cowboys will put it in play from there. This is Dallas' third possession of the ball game. So far, it's been pretty much ball control by the St. Louis Cardinals, which is their game.
Frank, this Butch Johnson is a great athlete. I think he's got tremendous desire, and I'm sure we're going to see a lot more of him in other positions on the offensive team other than just the kickoff return man.
Robert Newhouse has replaced Laidlaw at the fullback position for the Cowboys, and Doug Dennison is in there at halfback. It's Dennison takes the handoff, starts the left side, out across the 40 to the 41-yard line. So Tom Landry has gone to replacing both of his starting running backs. Apparently he was not particularly moved by what he saw in the first period from Laidlaw and from Preston Pearson, and now he's going with Dennison and Newhouse. Mike Dawson made the tackle that time on hard-running Doug Dennison, but not before he picked up 6 around the left side. Cowboys now moving from their 41-yard line. Second down, 4. Drew Pearson is wide to the right side, otherwise 2 tight ends in there. Newhouse over the left side, stops short of the first down as he reaches about the 44-yard line, and then he's shoved back.
Frank, basically what's happening out here on some of these plays, we've just got man-on-man blocking, and I believe they're just overpowering our offensive line at times. We should be maybe getting the guy a little bit lower and turning him out because there's no hole there for the back to run through. What few times there have been holes, evidently the backs have just missed the hole.
Dennison and Newhouse come out, and on the third down and 1, Laidlaw and Preston Pearson are back in there, along with 2 tight ends, Billy Joe Dupree and Jay Saldi. Third down 1 from the 43. Staubach throwing on 3rd and 1. Floats it out for Dupree. He's got it at the 35. Down to the 30-yard line of the St. Louis Cardinals. Well, there's one out of Bart Starr's old book. On 3rd down 1, Staubach floats a pass to his tight end, Billy Joe Dupree, for 26 yards. And Ken Reeves finally brings him down at the Cardinal 30.
Frank, that was very smart football. As we talked earlier, on 2nd and 1 or 3rd and 1, you really got the defense at a disadvantage because you're kind of freezing their linebackers and their cornerbacks. They're not certain whether it's going to be a run or a pass. It does give your tight end especially an opportunity to get downfield and be open.
First down, 10 to go. Cowboys, nose of the football just outside the Cardinal 30-yard line. Dallas continues to go with the two tight end offense. Hand off to Pearson. Starts right, cuts back left. He's to the 30 to the 25-yard line before he is dropped. He started to his right side and saw the hole completely plugged, then reversed gears and went back to his left and wound up picking up 5. Roger Worley and Norm Thompson on the stop for St. Louis.
Frank, as fast as the Cardinals are pursuing, now they normally don't play this good a run defense, but as fast as they're pursuing, they must have found a key somewhere in the offense, in the Dallas offense, because they're pursuing almost before the play starts.
Second down, 5. Cowboys up to the line of scrimmage. Pearson wide to the right side, rest of the T in tight. Again, the Cowboys going with the double tight end offense. The handoff on the reverse to Billy Joe Dupree. He's to the 25 and knocked out of bounds at the 24. So a net gain of just a yard. The play by Dupree, a bit of deception there, but the Cardinals weren't buying it. Mark Arneson and Roger Worley recovering quickly from St. Louis. And that'll set up 3rd down and 3 needed for the first down for the Cowboys at the Cardinal 24. Clock moving along with 6.5 minutes remaining in the first half of play. It's the Cardinals 7 and the Cowboys 7. Touchdown pass from Roger Staubach to Scott Laidlaw. And a 5-yard touchdown run by Steve Jones. The scoring in this game. Now Richards is in the game for the Cowboys. He's in the slot off to the right. Billy Joe Dupree wide outside of him on 3rd down 3. And Staubach from the tee goes back to throw over the middle to Preston Pearson. It is incomplete. Pearson looked back a little bit late, saw the ball coming, tried to reach the left hand down and couldn't hold it. Al Beauchamp and Tim Kearney were back there defending, so Dallas is put into a long field goal situation here.
Well, that was pretty good pass protection then, Frank, and I thought Preston ran a great route. They're double covering Drew, so he had to go to his secondary receiver, which was Preston Pearson, and I think by doing that, just that little adjustment that he had to make, he threw the ball just slightly under him.
41-yard field goal attempt upcoming by Efren Herrera. Waters awaits the snap. From Tom Rafferty, he's got it. It's down. It is up. It is no good. Far off to the left as he hit a knuckleball. This wound up spinning wild spiral type kick.
Frank, occasionally, when it's damp out there like that, the toe of the shoe will get a little bit wet, and that's the reason they will kick or kind of squib kick the ball.
There's a momentary break in the action, so let's pause for this. You're listening to Dallas Cowboys football.
It's not a car, something much, much more. It's not a root beer, there are root beers by the door. Drink Dr. Pepper to joy of every boy and girl. It's the most original salt drink ever in this whole wide world. Dr. Pepper.
Bill Monroe and Dr. Pepper, too original.
Herrera misfiring on the field goal attempt. The ball comes back to the line of scrimmage, which is the 24-yard line of the St. Louis Cardinals. Will put it in play from there with 6 minutes and 6 seconds remaining in the first half. It's the Cowboys 7 and the Cardinals 7. And Dallas has appeared to be rather sluggish so far, particularly on the defensive side, as the Cardinals have had really little trouble moving the football.
Well, Frank, I think the Cardinals have had very little trouble moving the football against most of the teams they've played this year. They have an extremely, as we've talked about many times, an extremely fine offensive line, and of course that is probably the root of all good offenses.
Pat Tilley, the rookie wide receiver, is still in there replacing Mel Gray, who was shaken up on the first series. That's got to be quite a loss for the Cardinals. As we mentioned before, 1st and 10. Here we go. Cardinals at the 24-yard line of the Cowboys. Hand off to Steve Jones, who has run well. Jones gets past the line of scrimmage, trying to sweep the right side, but gets very little over there. Jethro Pugh is there to close the hole after a pickup of 2, maybe 3 yards in the play. Officials will mark it at the 27-yard line, call it second down 7.
Well, that's a big plus for him, Frank, to have Jethro back in there because he does read the play so well, and his lateral pursuit is extremely good. Of course, you got Bill Gregory back over on the other tackle where he sometimes substitutes or with Larry Cole.
Hart sends Ike Harris wide to the right side. He's got Pat Tilley, the rookie from Louisiana Tech, split to the left. Second and 7. Cardinals at their 27. Score tied at 7. Handoff is to Jones, or rather to Wayne Morris, who has just come into the ball game. And Wayne Morris, the former SMU star, picks up maybe a yard, and that's it. Let's pause 15 seconds for station identification. This is the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network. Mr. Contractor, Skill Corporation and Moody Day Company invite you to see the most complete line of heavy-duty skill saws and roto hammers available in the Dallas area. Call Moody Day Company, 631-6460.
The voice of the Cowboys. This is KRLD, Dallas.
Third down 7. Cowboys trying to hold them here. Cardinals moving from their 28-yard line. Jim Hart calls the signals for the St. Louis Cardinals. Long count play, face back to throw in the pocket. Good protection. Pass complete to Tilley. Knocked loose and ruled incomplete. Good hard tackle by Mark Washington. Jarred the ball loose from the rookie Pat Tilley. He had it and it popped right out. And the official immediately ruled incompleted forward pass rather than the fumble. And the Cardinals will have to punt.
Well, it was a great pass. Of course, I think Mark's had great coverage all day. He's been right on him. Once or twice, the ball could have been intercepted by Mark. That particular time, Mark made a super play on him.
Gary Joyce in to do the punting for only the second time this afternoon for the St. Louis Cardinals. His first kick covered 39 yards. Butch Johnson is the deep man for the Dallas Cowboys, standing back at his 28-yard line. Joyce gets a good snap. Cowboys playing return all the way. Line drives the kick. Johnson moves up at the 33. Feels it goes 35, 40. Far sideline, 45, and almost to the 50-yard line. Excellent return by the rookie from the University of California, Riverside. And the Cowboys will have a first and 10 at their 49. 39-yard punch by Joyce. Time out of the field with the score. Dallas 7, St. Louis 7. Dallas Cowboys football continues in a moment.
I feel you near, I see your smile. You make each moment so worthwhile. You're my Sanger Harris man.
You'll really be looking good when you're wearing Hager's new Berlana gabardine blazer and slacks. Berlana, a nifty blend of 85% polyester and 15% wool, tailored into a fully lined 2-button blazer. The slacks in solids or contrasting patterns complete this handsome outfit. Hager's new Berlana gabardine blazer and slacks for the man who likes to be looked at. And what Sanger Harris man doesn't?
30 seconds left to play in the first half as the Cowboys move up on the football. First and 10 at their 49-yard line. Full house backfield. Now they send Golden Richards in motion off to the left. Preston Pearson and Huhouse are back. Here's Roger back in the pocket to throw it. He's going long. He's got Pearson down at the 15. It's intercepted. Picked off by Worley at the 15. Back to the 20. Up the far sideline to the 25, across the 30. Still on his feet and finally hit at the 36. Roger Worley stepping in front of Golden Richards as the pass was underthrown by Staubach. Billy Joe Dupre and Newhouse making the stop, but the Cowboys give the football away.
Well, Roger had a lot of time on that particular play. I'm sort of surprised that they would, go for the bomb on the first play, especially to Golden, who has somewhat of a full hamstring. But the ball was a little bit underthrown. Golden was out there. Just one of those plays, Frank.
Yeah, looking at it on the Magnavox monitor, that's exactly what happened because Golden did have a step on his man, and the ball was underthrown and right to Worley. So now the Cardinals take over, first and 10 at their 36-yard line. Here's Hart handing off to Wayne Morris. Tries the right side. Wayne gets through across the 40 out to the 45-yard line. Morris was a fourth-round draft pick for the St. Louis Cardinals, and the Cowboys are kind of kicking themselves. Not publicly, but you wonder why they didn't pick Wayne Morris earlier. Because he is a fine running back. He's a great replacement for Terry Metcalf and could play regular for a lot of teams in the NFL. That carry, he picked up 9 yards. It is second down and a yard for the first down for the Cardinals at their 45-yard line. Clock moving with 3 minutes, 40 seconds left to play in the first half. Hart ready. Spins, fakes, back to throw. Good protection for Hart. Floats it out, intended for Tilley. He can't hold it. Tried to make a leaping grab at the 15-yard line, and he really stretched out for it. Got his fingertips in the football and couldn't pull it down. Mark Washington was back there defending. But Hart had all the time in the world, Bob, to sit back there and pick him apart.
Well, he had plenty of time. Of course, he had also the element of surprise again, Frank. It was second and one. He had plenty of time, as we said. Don't think the Cowboys anticipated it would be a pass, but against the Cardinals, they are a very unusual team, a very bright team, and much experience there at the quarterback position. And I think, of course, Hart has learned the hard way down through the years, as we know.
Cardinals come up with two tight ends now. Jackie Smith joins J.V. Kane on his third down and a yard needed for the first down with the ball at the Cardinal 45-yard line. Hart hands off to Jones. Hard-running Steve Jones gets it across the 45 to the 47, and I believe he's got just about enough for the first down. Good second effort by Jones after he was hit initially at the line of scrimmage.
Frank, that play certainly shows me that the Cardinals have a lot of confidence in their offensive line. They were very strong to their left. They actually started to the right, and it was sort of a veer play. He went to the right. It was a slant play to the right and broke back in, actually off of the block of his offensive guard. Hart has already put it in the air 15 times, completed 8 for 71 yards. Cardinals, first and 10 from their 47-yard line. So the officials mark it. Here's Jim Hart, back to throw it again. Again, excellent protection. Goes long for Tilley, and Tilley pulls it down, but he's out of bounds on the near side. So it goes as incomplete once again. Tilley, young man with great hands, just a little bitty guy at 5'10 and 175, and he's shaking his head and kind of cussing himself because, well, he's dropped one. He almost made a fingertip sensational grab a moment ago and pulled one down there, and he was out of bounds. That's a tough catch, Frank. He was right on the line, and, of course, the ball was slightly overthrown. But the disappointing thing is that the Cardinals have such a great pass protection team. The Cowboys really haven't put much pressure on them at all, except in the first quarter when they blitzed a little bit.
Redskins sacked Hart 4 times last Sunday. He hasn't been close to getting his jersey dirty today. Second down 10. Cardinals at their 47. Tilley is wide to the left side. Here's the handoff to Wayne Morris. Sweeps the left side and run out of bounds near midfield in front of the Cardinal bench by Mark Washington of the Cowboys. A pickup on the play of perhaps 2 yards by Morris will set up third down, and the Cardinals need 8 for the first with 2 minutes and 36 seconds left to play in the first half.
Well, we had 3 great plays on that one, Frank. Harvey Martin escaped the block that time. He pursued down the line. Mark Washington turned the ball carrier in, and D.D. Lewis kept pace with him. So they had 3 guys, and he just didn't have anywhere to cut upfield on him.
Hart sends Tilley wide to the right side this time. He's got Ike Harris in the slot inside of him. Third down and a long 8 for the Cardinals from their 49-yard line. Obvious passing situation. Cowboy prevent is in there. Here's Hart back to throw it again. Good protection down the sideline. Intended for Harris, incomplete. On the far side in front of the Cowboy bench, Mark Washington covering, and he had him covered so well that Hart just might have thrown it away because he threw the ball out of bounds. So again, the Cardinals are forced into a punting situation by the Cowboy defense. And Dallas's offensive unit, everything goes well here, will have at least one more shot at it before intermission. Score tied at 7 with 2.5 minutes remaining in the first half, and Terry Joyce comes in to do the punting. Butch Johnson, the deep man, standing back on the Cowboy 10. Cowboys have 10 men up at the line of scrimmage. Let's see if they go for the rush here. They've been feeling back for the return, and they do it again as the snap comes true, and Joyce gets the kick away. Fair catch signal by Johnson. The ball bounds over his head and into the end zone for the touchback, so the Cowboys will take over at the 20-yard line with 2 minutes and 21 seconds left to play in the first half. Very tight ball game so far. Cowboys scored in the first period on a short touchdown pass from Roger Staubach to Scott Laidlaw. And the Cardinals counted in the second period after a long drive on a 4-yard dive off left tackle by running back Steve Jones. And that's where we stand as the Cowboys bring it up to the line of scrimmage. Golden Richards is in there once again. He's seen only spot action. When he isn't in there, the Cowboys have been going to a double tight end offense. Here's Staubach handing off to Doug Dennison around the right side across the 20 to the 22-yard line. And there he is torn down. Pick up a couple of yards in the play. It'll be second down 8. Roger has put it in the air 8 times, completed 4 so far this afternoon for a total of 39 yards, 1 touchdown, and had 1 pass intercepted. We're rolling down to the 2-minute warning. There's the whistle. There's a timeout on the field with our score, the Cowboys 7 and the Cardinals 7. Dallas Cowboys football continues in a moment.
Super Bowl 11. How would you like to go to the Super Bowl in Los Angeles? It's the exciting Magnavox Touch Tune Sweepstakes at Orion Magnavox. Come into Orion. Ask for a demonstration of the all-new Touch Tune television, and you'll receive free an official NFL TV guidebook and a sweepstakes entry card for instant savings up to $50 and other prizes. Prizes totaling over $1 million. You could even win an all-expense-paid trip for 2 to Super Bowl 11 in Los Angeles, California. All this from Orion Magnavox, home of the star, where our professional staff takes pride in representing the largest and most complete selection of Magnavox home entertainment products in the Metroplex. Easy terms are available, along with same-day delivery at no extra cost. Everyone's a winner at Orion Magnavox. Touch Tune Sweepstakes. Come in now and enter. Catch your star at Orion at Redbird Mall.
Time still out of the field here at Texas Stadium. When we head back to play, the Cowboys will have the football, second down 7, with the ball at the 23-yard line in Dallas end of the field. As close as it could be. Don't ask us what a tie would do to the divisional playoff situation, because it's hard enough to figure out what one team winning and another losing will do. Here we go. Cowboys up to the line of scrimmage. Staubach hands off to Newhouse. Sweeps the right side. Gets a block from Dennison. Stumbles and plows forward across the 25 to the 27-yard line before Mike Sensabaugh makes the stop on him. That'll set up third down and 3. Left for the first down.
Frank, the Cowboys had a very fine play set up that time. They just had one man that they couldn't quite handle. That was their old linebacker Stallings. He was out there. He just sort of pursued down the line. He had one guy trying to block him. He fought him off with his arms. Other than that, the Cowboys would have had a very, very fine running play on that one.
Cowboys have 2 timeouts left. The Cardinals have 3. The clock is rolling with 1 minute and 20 seconds left to play in the first half as the Cowboys come up to the line of scrimmage. Third down and a short 3, and Staubach goes back to throw. Blitz is on. Gets it away over the middle. It is incomplete. Dupree was down there on a crossing pattern, but we got a marker down at the line of scrimmage. So was Golden Richards, and they were in the same proximity that would lead you to believe that perhaps somebody wasn't running the right pattern.
Frank actually had 3 receivers in the same proximity, and that would lead me to believe that we didn't, maybe we had 2 guys that weren't running the right pattern.
Holding, number 70, offense. Declined, 4th down.
Well, you heard the referee, Fred Wyatt, tell you about the penalty on that last play. Rayfield Wright called for holding, but the Cardinals declined it because they want one last shot at the football. With 1 minute 12 seconds to go and 3 timeouts left and Terry Metcalf back to receive the punt, you can bet here that Danny White's going to be kicking away from him. There's too many times in the past he has run back kicks and put him in scoring position in the waning seconds of a ball game or of a half. Here's the snap to White. Pretty big rush. A pass out to Barnes. Complete to 40. Benny Barnes to the 50. He's a block to the 40. Barnes is out of the 30-yard line.
Well, Frank, I would say that was a big play. I wouldn't have ever dreamed Coach Landry would pull something like that, would you?
Not that deep in his own territory. That is really anything but conservative. A pickup of 49 yards on the play, and the officials mark it at the Cardinal 29, and now the Cowboys have stopped the clock with 43 seconds to go and 2 timeouts left. Boy, he was wide open. Another block, and he could have gone all the way. That's all he needed was 1 block.
That's right. I'll tell you, that one play right there could have changed the entire momentum of the game coming back in after halftime, because if the Cowboys go on to get 3 points or get a touchdown, it does emotional damage to the opposition, I'll tell you. It really, a play like that makes you feel kind of stupid anyway, Frank.
There's a momentary break in the action, so let's pause for this. You're listening to Dallas Cowboys football.
It's not a score, it's something much more. It's not a root beer that'll root beer by the score. Drink Dr. Pepper, the joy of every boy and girl. It's the most original soft drink ever in the whole wide world.
Mother Maybelle Carter and Dr. Pepper, two originals.
Well, the crowd is still buzzing here at Texas Stadium over Landry's latest trick. It was a 43-yard pass play from Danny White to Benny Barnes off punt formation and from very deep in his own territory. Had that pass not been completed, the Cardinals would have been in excellent scoring shape to go into the halftime with the momentum. But the gamble paid off. Now the Cowboys have just one timeout left. They have 43 seconds left in the half. And a first down at the 29-yard line of St. Louis, and Staubach has him in the shotgun as he comes out. Roger takes the direct snap, back to throw. Protection is good, penalty marker down. Now he starts to scramble to his right, throws the ball away in the direction of Golden Richards at the near sideline, but we had a marker down on the play. It was dropped almost immediately. And it's going to be against the Cardinals. Personal foul. So that'll move the Cowboys inside the 20-yard line. We'll get the official call here in a moment from the referee, Fred Wyant, as both teams huddle around the official. Now he paces off the yardage down to the 15 to the 14-yard line. First down, and let's see who it was against.
It was Mike Dawson, Frank. Personal foul. Head slap, number 76. Defense, first down.
Well, happened to the old TCU boy, Charlie Davis.
Frank, you know, it's amazing. They didn't used to call these near as much as they do now. We've had 2 already today. It's quite unusual.
37 seconds showing on the clock and a first down for the Cowboys at the 14-yard line of St. Louis. The score is tied at 7. Staubach brings him out to the tee. Back to throw. Roger in the pocket. Starts to run. Fires the pass. Pearson at the 10, 9, 8-yard line. And another flag throw. And a late hit this time on the Cardinals will cost St. Louis half the distance to the goal as Mike sends the ball. Made the stop. Clock stops with 30 seconds to go. Cowboys still with one timeout left.
Well, there's a lot of hate between these two teams, because anyone would have known that would have been a penalty. I think that was Stallings, wasn't it, Frank?
Now we'll find that out in a moment. Here's the walk-off from the 8 to the 4-yard line, half the distance to the goal, and the referee, Fred Wyant, will give us the call.
Personal foul, number 67, defense, first down. I am.
Barry Stallings it was. The Cardinals veteran linebacker. It is first and goal to go from the 4-yard line. Keep in mind the Cowboys have one timeout left. 30 seconds showing on the clock. And now Staubach trots over to the far sideline for a word with head coach Tom Landry. Well, the Cowboys have just taken their last timeout. So they are flat out of time here in the first half of timeouts. 30 seconds to go on the clock.
Frank, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if we didn't see Mr. Staubach running a little bit before the halftime begins.
Little option, perhaps? A little run-throw option?
Well, I don't know. I think Roger, at any chance today, the way he looks, if he doesn't find a receiver open, he sees the slightest hole, I think we're going to see Roger running for the touchdown or toward the touchdown anyway.
Of course, without a timeout left now, Bob, you almost have to call something in the direction of the sidelines if it's not a pass play, don't you?
Well, I think we've got enough time, though, Frank, for probably one scamper by Roger, and then possibly, I think more likely you'd have time for one more play. There's no question that they're going to be covering the sidelines pretty hard.
All right, Staubach is back on the field and ducks into the huddle. First down, goal to go. Cowboys ball at the Cardinal 4-yard line. Staubach has, but it's ruled incomplete. As his arm came down in the forward motion, the ball got away from him, and it's ruled an incompleted forward pass. Boy, Boy, that had a bunch of hearts stopped here at Texas Stadium. Looked for a moment like he just fumbled it. But the ball just slipped out of his grasp, Bob.
Yeah, he was going to throw it. There's no question about it. He actually was pumping the ball. I think he was probably going to set up a fake. He pumped the ball, and it came out of his hand. Now, that is a clue, Frank, to the effect his little fingers had on him. I think that it's had a lot more effect on his throwing than anyone has been led to believe, because I talked to him last week. He did have swelling, and his finger just not working as good as it did.
30-second clock running down to 5 seconds as the Cowboys come up to the line of scrimmage. 26 seconds left on the game clock. Here's Staubach rolling out to his right, looking. He's going to run for it. He's to the goal line. He is over. And we've got a marker down. A penalty marker is down as Staubach dove into the end zone. But apparently the call went against the Cardinals, the way the Cowboy players are reacting. Defensive holding declined. The Cowboys score. Well, you call that one, Robert.
Well, I think that's Roger's game plan today. You know how he is. He's such a tremendous competitor that if they stop him one way, he's going to do it another, Frank. And you can watch the determination anytime Roger runs today.
Well, as you mentioned, Bob, something like this could turn this football game right around. It looked like the Cowboys were stuck deep in their own territory. They had the pass on the fake punt and moved all the way down for the score in the last minute. Herrera hits the extra point here with 20 seconds to go. And the Cardinals will have time for the kickoff to receive the kickoff, and that will about be it.
Well, Frank, you know, it could have been just the opposite if the Cardinals had gotten the ball in good field position, driven it down, and gotten either a field goal or a touchdown. Going in at halftime, the Cowboys wouldn't have the elation that they're going to have going in right now. The Cardinals now are faced with coming back out, overcoming the 7-point deficit, catching back up. They've got to score twice.
You can see them walking off the field, Bob. They look very dejected, don't they?
Sure do, because it turned right around in front of their eyes. They know they've got a good 2-minute offense, and yet the Cowboys fooled them.
Now we'll get a look at the Cardinals' 22nd offense here in just a moment. Penalty certainly aided on that drive, too. The Cardinals were penalized 3 times for 25 yards on the drive. 14-7, Dallas with 20 seconds left in the first half. Herrera preparing to kick off from left to right. Again, the Cardinals will go with Terry Metcalf as the deep man, but he's not playing nearly as deep as he would normally. And let's see if Herrera does kick it away, tries to squib kick it here to prevent the long return, which I think would probably be good strategy. Herrera waits the whistle. He has it. Here we go. He booms it down the middle. Line drives it, bounces it to Morris at the 10, up to the 15, 20. Wayne Morris is hit at the 30-yard line. First and 10 for the Cardinals, who will call timeout immediately with 14 seconds left to play in the first half. Officials mark it at the 29-yard line at St. Louis.
Well, the Dallas coverage remains excellent, Frank. They're really getting down there on those kickoffs, and they're doing a great job containing them and not letting them get out of the pocket.
Nose of the football just inside the Cardinal 30-yard line is Jim Hart. Has his Cardinals in the huddle. 14 seconds left to play. Here they come. Ike Harris breaks to the left side. Pat Tilley to the right. Cardinals minus the services of Mel Gray for most of the game as he was injured on the very first series. Handoff to Steve Jones. Big hole up the middle of the 40. And finally is down at the 45-yard line. 8 seconds left to play. And again, the Cardinals call time. They have 1 left. And they'll have a first down at their 45-yard line, and the Cowboys will gladly give them another 10 or 15 up the middle in exchange for the 8 seconds left on the clock.
Well, Frank, I think this coming play we're probably going to see a pass, because I think otherwise, if we hadn't had that kind of run on that play, they really had anticipated probably just running a couple of plays going in at halftime. But right now, I think Hart is probably thinking about a 20, 30-yard pass, get set up for a field goal. We had a rush by the Cowboy line. I think I would have been playing maybe a little bit more toward the run and taking my chances.
Cowboys have their prevent defense in there. The Cardinals have called timeout. Now the referee whistles the ball back in play. It'll be first down St. Louis from their 45-yard line. The scoreboard shows 2 timeouts, but I believe the Cardinals have just 1 left. Hart brings him up to the line of scrimmage. Straight back into the pocket. Cowboy pass rush. Can't get to him. He gets it away. It is down the far sideline. Intended for Tilley and knocked out of bounds. Incomplete. Matty Barnes and Charlie Waters over there in double coverage. I tell you, Tilly, for a rookie, is getting quite a baptism, isn't he?
He certainly is. He's been throwing just a little bit over him all day, Frank. He's been in position. I imagine what it is the timing's just a little bit off between Tilly and Hart, because Tilly hasn't been in there that much, and it seems like there's just maybe a step or two off in the timing of the pair. Whereas Mel Gray, if he were in there, probably would be right in the position that Hart expects him to be.
That play took 7 seconds, so there's just 1 second showing on the scoreboard clock. Second down 10. Cardinals at their 45, and the Cowboys just fading back like a bunch of Willie Mays looking for the long bomb. So all they have to prevent here is a 55-yard touchdown. Hart back to throw. Sets up strong. Over the middle he goes. He's got Harris at the Dallas 40, and he's tackled and falls forward to the 32 as time runs out, ending the first half. It's halftime with the score of the Cowboys 14 and the Cardinals 7. Dallas Cowboy football continues in a moment.
Play-by-play action of Dallas Cowboy football is being brought to you on KRLD by Chevrolet and Chevrolet dealers, who invite you to see and drive the all-new 6-passenger car, the new Chevrolet. By Sanger Harris. If you don't feel like going out shopping, phone 651-2000. Sanger Harris delivers. By Champion Spark Plugs. A fresh set of Champions alone can improve your gas mileage and performance. And by Jack in the Box. Take life a little easier at a Jack in the Box family restaurant.
And for being our guest, we'd like to present Dwayne Thomas with a gift certificate from Outfitters, men's clothing at North Park. Outfitters, what if we were right for you and you didn't even know it? Cowboys will try to expand on a 14-7 halftime lead, and as the St. Louis Cardinals prepare to kick off in the second half, with the play-by-play, Frank Lieber.
Thank you very much once again, Brad. I noticed on the near sidelines that Mel Gray is warming up for the Cardinals. He missed most of the first half, except for the first series of downs. The report we got, he was shaken up, but that he would be back in the game. So we'll have to see when the Cardinals take the ball on offense, whether or not he does come back. Cardinals will kick off from left to right. Jim Bakken is awaiting the whistle, and he's got it from the referee, Jim Wyatt. Jim Jensen and Butch Johnson are the deep men for the Cowboys. This one comes down to Johnson at the 10, straight up the middle, 15, 20, 25. Johnson looking for an opening, skips across the 30 and up to the 33-yard line before he's upended by Al Beauchamp, number 58, along with Dwayne Crump. So let's see if that great drive the Cowboys mustered right at the end of the first half gave momentum coming out now for the start of the second half. For those of you who joined us late, the Cowboys tried a fake punt deep in their own territory, and it paid off spectacularly with a 43-yard gain, and they pushed a touchdown in the final minute of the first half to take the lead 14-7. First and 10, Cowboys at their 33. Once again, Tom Landry starting with the double tight end offense. Golden Richards on the bench. The handoff, Laidlaw up the middle, out to the 38-yard line. Cowboys had lots of problems running the football in that first half, Bob.
They certainly have. They're changed up a little bit. This time, though, Frank, it seems like the play that time is more of a counter-type play. They faked actually to the left side as though it were going to be a play to the left side. They pulled Neely. They influenced the defensive end, and they had some good zone blocking up the middle. They may come back with a little bit different set this time, Frank.
Second down, 5. Cowboys at their 38-yard line. Opening moment of the second half of play. Dallas leading 14-7 here in the big one. Preston Pearson to the left side out to the 45, 50, and into Cardinal territory to the 47-yard line. First down for the Cowboys, and that's the longest individual gain from scrimmage on a rushing play for the Cowboys this afternoon. 20 yards. Tackle made by Ken Reeves and Mike Sensabaugh.
Well, there again, we had a straight-ahead type play. It was a little bit of a counter. He actually started to his right and broke back in, and it was just plain zone blocking. He had a very nice hole in. He made a good cut, and, of course, he's a very fine runner down in open field, Frank.
First and 10 for the Dallas Cowboys at the St. Louis Cardinal 47-yard line. Roger Staubach starting them out on the ground here in the second half, and with fine success. Handoff Laidlaw, left side, inside the 45, down to the 42-yard line. That's another 5 yards. Larry Stallings and Mark Arneson combining on the tackle.
Well, that was a good play from the Cowboys' standpoint. It was also a change from the first half, and they may have set their game plan up this way, Frank. That play was, everybody was pulling to our offensive right. The play looked as though it was going to be an end run, and the back had planned to roll back. He did. He rolled back against the pursuit of the defense and made a very fine play out of it.
Second down, 5 for the Cowboys at the St. Louis Cardinal 42-yard line. Staubach, straight handoff, Laidlaw, up over the middle, dives inside the 40 to the 38-yard line. Needed to net the 37 for the first down, so he'll be close depending on where they spot it.
Well, the Cowboy offensive line that time, Frank, were very low. That's the lowest they've been charging all day, and even though it was a short yardage play, they're getting down and they're firing off a lot better.
Short yardage specialist Doug Dennison checks into the huddle for Preston Pearson. And in the past, that's almost been a dead giveaway that the Cowboys would give the ball to Dennison and just dare the Cardinals to stop them. Third down and a yard. Cowboys at the Cardinal 38-yard line. Preston Pearson coming out of the game. The handoff instead to Laidlaw, fighting for the first down. He'll be close. Looked like he has it at the 36-yard line and then was shoved way back almost to the 40. First down, no measurement necessary for the Cowboys at the 36-yard line. I tell you, it'd be some kind of thing here if the Cowboys came out in the second half and just ran it right down the field and scored. That's the type of thing that could break a team's back.
Well, it sure would, Frank, and the attitude of the team looks much different than it did right after opening kickoff. The Cowboys are coming out here. They're taking command. They're really blocking hard, and they've got their heads down. They're going after them, and I think maybe they do have that momentum.
Richards back in the ball game. He split wide to the left side. Drew Pearson flanked to the right. First down from the 36. Fake into the middle. Staubach back to throw. Excellent protection for Preston Pearson. Intercepted by Worley at the 20. And he carries it back to the 27-yard line. And Staubach unhappy with himself because that ball just kind of hung in the air for a moment. And Worley stepped in front of Preston Pearson to make his second interception of the afternoon.
Roger had great protection on that, Frank. He just, I think, threw it in the middle of too many players. I imagine that Roger would love to have been able to throw it pass over.
There's a timeout of the field with the score. Cowboys 14, Cardinals 7. Dallas Cowboy football continues in a moment. Cardinals first and 10 at their 27. Handoff Otis. Big hole. Fumble. Loose football at the 45-yard line. And who's got it? The Cardinals recover the fumble at the 48-yard line. A golden opportunity for Dallas as Otis fumbled that ball after a big hole open at the 40-yard line. Fumbled it forward 5 or 7 yards. And St. Louis wound up recovering the ball. Looked like Mel Gray in the bottom of that pile. He's back in the lineup for the Cardinals, and they've got a first down at their 48. Gray just did beat Benny Barnes of the Cowboys to the football as we saw the replay on our Magnavox monitor. Big hole opened up, that time up the middle. Back to throw goes Jim Hart. He winds up. He drills it over the middle. Incomplete, intended for Gray at the 30-yard line. And Cliff Harris sticks Gray pretty good, and they come up and have a few words. It was Gray and Harris who had the confrontation in St. Louis earlier this year, with Mel spiking the ball after scoring a couple of touchdowns in front of Cliff. Pass was just underthrown and incomplete at the 35-yard line of Dallas. It'll be second and 10 for the Cardinals at their 48. Here's Steve Jones coming into the lineup, replacing Jim Otis at running back. 11 minutes, 3 seconds left to play in the third period. Cowboys took the kickoff and drove down to the 35-yard line. Entirely on the ground, first pass that Staubach threw in the second half was intercepted. Now it's the Cardinals' turn. Second and 10. Up to the line of scrimmage. Here's Hart. Faking the pass, hands off to Metcalf. Big hole over the middle, and Metcalf is inside the 50 to the 43-yard line of the Cowboys, and he'll be close for the first down. Leroy Jordan and Bob Brunig making the stop. That's very close for a first down. Let's see if it's close enough to measure. Not quite. Third down, let's call it a yard.
Frank, that's a very, very dangerous play for a defense. They're all probably trying to rush the passer, and if one defensive tackle takes off after the passer, then it leaves the hole open because the linebacker has to drop back on that play.
Third down and a yard for the Cardinals. From the Dallas 42-yard line. Two tight ends in there. Straight handoff to Jones. He plows forward to the 40-yard line. He's got the first down. St. Louis, first and 10 at the 40-yard line of the Dallas Cowboys.
Frank, are really working on the middle of the Cowboy line. I don't know exactly what defense the Cowboys are using. They're running off the flex look, but it looks as though one of the tackles has been called on an inside play, and Leroy is filling that hole. What's happening right now is they're driving either Jethro or Bill home by the hole, and that's what's causing or creating the hole up the middle.
These two teams have played it tight here in Dallas last 2 years. Cowboys just winning. Last year in overtime, year before in a last-minute field goal. First and 10 from the Cowboy 40. Hart back to throw. Throws it long, intended for Mel Gray at the goal line. Benny Barnes back there with him. Incomplete. Well covered by Benny Barnes.
Well, that was a super play by Benny Barnes. We had a very fine passer at that time by Harvey Martin. I think Harvey put just a little bit too much pressure on him, and of course Benny got behind Mel Gray. He got in front of him rather, and never really let him have his sprint or have his speed down to the goal line. Kept him there all the way.
Second and 10. Cardinals continue their strategy of throwing on first down against the Cowboys. They're at the Dallas 40-yard line, trailing by 7 with 9:38 left to play in the third period. Ike Harris splits out to the left side. Gray comes out of the ball game for a breather after that long run and is replaced by rookie Pat Tilley as the flanker. He's off to the left side. Here's Hart on second and 10. Again back into the pocket. Throwing, rushes on, gets it away to Jones at the 40. Jones tight roping it down to the 35 to the 34-yard line. Good run by Steve Jones, who waited for his interference to form and then just picked his way through the Cowboy defenders for 6, maybe 7 yards in the play, which will set up a third down 3 for the Cardinals at the Dallas 34.
There again, Frank, to get into that second long situation, most of our linemen were rushing the quarterback. It is a good call by Hart, and of course the Cardinals have always been noted as having an extremely fine draw and screen team, and that time they did. I think we had a little bit of fisticuffs there by Jethro and Dobler.
Third down, let's call it 4 for the first down for the Cardinals at the Dallas 34-yard line. Just a little bit out of field goal range here, so big play. Here's Hart back to throw. Cowboy blitz is on. The pass is incomplete as Tilley, the intended receiver, slipped and fell at the 25-yard line. Benny Barnes was back there covering him, but Tilley was flat on his back where the ball came whistling by his ear. So the Cardinal punting unit comes on. This is, we mentioned, just a little bit outside of the field goal range of Jim Bucket. Fourth down. And Joyce in a position here to angle it for the Coffin corner, and he's positioning himself like he's going to boot it for the near side Coffin corner as he stands at the 50 awaiting the snap from center. Butch Johnson, Cowboys safety on about the 15-yard line. So the Cardinals look like they're going to play it for field position. Low snap from center. Good rush by the Cowboys, angling for the near sideline. The ball hits on the 5 and goes into the end zone, blocked back out, and goes back into the end zone. Touchback.
Well, it was great effort on the Cardinals' part, Frank. They were down there trying to get the ball back on the 1-yard line, which would have made it very difficult for the Cowboys, but now we've got it on the 20.
There's a timeout on the field with the score, Dallas 14, St. Louis 7. Dallas Cowboys football continues in a moment.
Here's a message for business people. Your Southwestern Bell account executive is a trained consultant who can show you how better communications can lead to better profits. He can also tell you ways to get more value from your communications dollar, even with your existing telephone system. Whatever your communication needs, call your Southwestern Bell account executive. We talk business. You are a business. Southwestern Bell.
How would you like to go to Super Bowl 11? At Orion Magnavox, it's touch-tune sweepstakes with prizes totaling over $1 million. Come into Orion Magnavox, ask for a demonstration of the new touch-tune television, and you'll receive free an official sweepstakes entry card for instant savings and prizes. You could win an expense-paid trip for 2 to Super Bowl 11 in Los Angeles, California. Everyone's a winner at Orion Magnavox. Come in and enter now. Catch your star at Orion at Redbird Mall.
First and 10, Cowboys. Staubach pitches to Preston Pearson, tries the right side, crosses the 25, and is out to the 26-yard line. Pickup of 6 yards in the play. It'll be second down 4 for Dallas. The Cowboys continue to run well here at the start of the second half. Ken Reeves and Mark Arneson making the stop. You and I were discussing, wondering why Roger put that ball in the air a while back, because they had moved half the length of the field, Bob, on the ground a moment ago on their last drive.
Well, it was kind of surprising, although I think that they probably figured they'd have the Cardinals playing a lot tougher against the run, Frank.
Second and 4. Cowboys ready to go. Staubach, straight handoff. Pearson slides to his left, drives forward, reaches the 28, possibly close to the 29. So it'll be third down and about 1.5 yards as Mike Dawson, the Cardinals' right defensive tackle, comes up to make the stop. Cowboys leading rushers in the ball game. Preston Pearson is 44 yards. Staubach has 35 yards. He's the second leading rusher for Dallas, including 1 touchdown. Jones is the St. Louis leading rusher with 39 yards. Otis has 33. Third down, little more than a yard for the first down. Cowboys at their 29, trying to keep this drive going. Again, they have two tight ends in there. They split Drew Pearson out to the left side, rest of the T in tight. Staubach rolling to his right, passes to Laidlaw for the first down. He goes out of bounds in front of the Cowboy bench at the 35. Little pass run option there.
Sure was, and that's a good call, Frank, because Rogers an outstanding runner. He can throw well going to his right, and they've got to keep a man back. They've got to keep both the cornerback back deep on the wide receiver, and then they've got to keep the linebacker back on the fullback coming out of the backfield. So what Roger had an option then. I'm sure there was an option play where he could have run or he could have thrown it, and the easiest thing on that to do was to throw it for the first down.
First and 10. Cowboys from their 35-yard line. Just over 7 minutes left to play in the third period. Staubach pitches to Preston Pearson. He goes to the left, cuts back to the right. He's at the 35, up to the 37-yard line. A lot of running to pick up 2, maybe 3 yards in the play. Mike Dawson makes the stop. Pearson very good at sensing when the hole is closed and then reversing his field, going back the other way and turning what looked like a loss or no gain into a pickup of almost 3 yards. Second down, 7.
Frank, that time it was very obvious that Preston wasn't going to be able to outrun the pursuit, and Preston, I think, knows his limitations. He's not a real fast back, and his main asset is the fact that he's kind of slippery downfield, and I don't think we had the blocking on that play to spring him free as we have in the past.
Second and 7. Cowboys from their 37-yard line. Laidlaw and Pearson the setbacks. Here's Roger Staubach faking to Pearson, back to throw. Good fake, excellent protection. He's going long for Golden Richards and overthrows him at the 20-yard line. Golden was flying down there. Roger overthrew him by about 5 yards. Roger Rowley was back there trailing Richards, but it looked like Golden might have had a step on him. Excellent fake, though, and excellent protection, Bob.
Well, it was an excellent fake. That's, of course, that run-type passing, where they fake a run and pass, and the offensive line for the Cowboys did a great job on that play. I am surprised, though, Frank, today. That's the second time that we've seen Golden go for a bomb, and of course, we didn't think when he came into the game today, that Golden was going to be able to, go all out. But Roger's gone to him twice now on the long pass.
Third down, 7. Cowboys need the first down to keep it going. They line up in the shotgun as they come out from their own 37-yard line. Here's Roger, back to throw it. Pressure is on, gets the pass away for Dupree. He pulls it down for the first down at the Cardinal 45-yard line. First and 10, Cowboys.
I'm certainly glad to see the shotgun is performing as well right now as it has been in the last few plays that Roger's run it, because the last 2 or 3 ball games it hasn't been functioning too well. They've had a lot of blitzes. The Cowboys seem to have learned how to contend with them, and they had great protection there. Roger had plenty of time and threw a perfect pass.
And Dupree, we might add, made a great catch in heavy traffic as he was surrounded by red shirts. So the drive continues. Now from the Cardinal 45, first and 10. Just under 6 minutes left to play in the third period. We have not had a score in the second half. Handoff to Laidlaw. Scott finds a little bit of running room over the left side, but not much daylight as he advances it to the 43-yard line. Pickup of 2. And Mike Dawson, the Cardinals' fine rookie defensive tackle, who's been on a ton of tackles this afternoon, makes the stop.
Seemed like the Cowboy strategy going into the game today was to run to their left side, and they haven't had much success all day at that, although right after the half they've had quite a bit of success running to their right. And I kind of think maybe that's what we're going to see. I think probably going into the fourth quarter, Frank, we're going to see a lot more running to our right side offensively.
Second down, a little over 8 for the first down. Cowboys from the 43-yard line of St. Louis. Staubach back to throw. Protection is good. Gets the pass away. Hits Dupree at the 40. Billy Joe dragged out of bounds after picking up just 2, maybe 3 yards in the play. Let's pause 15 seconds for station identification. This is the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Mr. Contractor, got a tough job? Get the tough one from Skill. Worm Drive 77 Skill Saw. The lumber metal concrete saw. Call Moody Day Company 631-6460. The voice of the Cowboys. This is KRLD Dallas.
Third down and still almost 7 yards needed for the first down for the Cowboys at the Cardinal 41-yard line. So for the second time, Staubach is confronted with a third down and long situation. He made the drive go a moment ago with the pass to Dupree. Once again from the shotgun, Roger takes the direct snap from center. The blitz is on. He steps forward into the pocket over the middle. It's down to Pearson at the 27-yard line. First down as Drew Pearson pulls down the pass. Going Thompson making the tackle. They've been double-teaming Drew most of the afternoon, so he hasn't had much business. That's his third catch for 12 yards.
Well, it certainly was. That was a great route by Drew. He had two men on him, as you noted. He has had most of the day, but there again, the Cowboy offensive line and the one remaining back they had in there protecting Roger were able to pick up the blitz of the Cardinals, and once they shut that off, Roger seems to have all day, and when he does, he's very, very dangerous.
Officials mark it at the Cardinals' 25-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Cowboys. Staubach hands to Laidlaw up the middle to the 20. Laidlaw is down to the 17-yard line, 8 yards, and Larry Stallings makes the stop.
Well, on that play, Frank, they did go to the right side. Fitzgerald had a very good block over center, cutting the tackle off. Herb Scott was going through, and he made the seal on the outside linebacker, which allowed Scott Laidlaw to burst on through there, and there really wasn't anybody that had a firm hand on him until he'd gone around 5 or 6 yards.
Officials mark it at the 18-yard line. Let's call it 2nd down and just under 3. Needed for the 1st down. Cowboys moving deep in Cardinal territory now. Staubach hands to Preston Pearson. Flag is down as Pearson drives inside the 15 to the 14-yard line. We get a preliminary call of holding against Dallas. Boy, of all the times.
Frank, this is, of course, the area that you can't afford it, but the Cardinals did the same thing earlier in the game, just before the half. As a matter of fact, they got 2 penalties right down on the goal line, and it killed them. Of course, the Cowboys here, they've come 2 consecutive drives this far, Frank, and I hate to see them thwarted on the second one because sometimes it does take steam out of you after you've missed 2.
Holding number 62 offense. That one goes against the center, John Fitzgerald. And the ball is moved back to the 23-yard line. 3 minutes, 44 seconds left to play in the 3rd period. It'll be 2nd down, 13 for the Cowboys at the 20, make it the 28-yard line of St. Louis. 2nd and 13 from the Cardinal 28. Staubach back into the pocket to throw. The blitz is on. He gets the screen away to Laidlaw, but he is caught behind the line of scrimmage. Then back behind the line by Mark Arneson, who filtered through the screen of blockers and dropped him for a loss back around the 35-yard line.
Well, Mark read that very well. Mark's a fine young linebacker, and he, of course, read the play very well. It's sort of like running one against D.D. Lewis. D.D. can hardly run a screen on. He recognizes he's got too much experience. They had the play well set up. It hadn't been for him, though, Frank.
Well, now it's a question of getting close enough to give Efren Herrera the shot at the field goal. 3rd down. And the Cowboys need 17 with the ball spotted at the 33-yard line of the St. Louis Cardinals. Butch Johnson comes in at wide receiver. He's wide to the left side. Drew Pearson is split to the right. Staubach has him in the shotgun. He's converted 2 key 3rd down situations in this drive on long yardage. Straight snap. Back to throw. Not much of a rush this time. Roger waiting. Finally delivers. Pearson can't hold it, but it's caught by a Cowboy. However, Johnson pulling it down. It's a double touch, and the pass will be ruled incomplete because a Cardinal did not touch the ball in between. He had Drew Pearson wide open at the 15-yard line, threw it high. Pearson got his fingertips on the ball. It cascaded away and was touched, caught next by Butch Johnson. The defensive man did not touch it in between, so that is an incompleted forward pass.
Frank, that's a lot better, I suppose, than an interception because it looked like it surely would have been. There were three Cardinals behind Butch Johnson, and the pass was slightly overthrown. Drew has been known to catch those kind, but it was a very difficult catch.
So the ball comes back to the line of scrimmage, the 33-yard line. It is now 4th down, and Danny White is in to do the punting, and I think they'll be looking for the pass this time.
Well, there's no doubt about it, Frank.
White looks like he'll be angling toward one of the coffin corners. Terry Metcalf standing in the center of the field on the 5-yard line, just in case. Danny standing back at the 48, awaiting the snap. Good snap. And White kicking for the far sideline, trying to put it out of bounds. It is into the end zone. Touchback. Henderson tried to save it from going into the end zone for the Cowboys, but couldn't. And the Cardinals will bring it out to the 20-yard line. There's a timeout on the field with the score. Cowboys 14, Cardinals 7. Dallas Cowboys football continues in a moment.
Chevette scooter is happily priced. Only $29.99. That's manufacturer's suggested retail price, including dealer preparation, taxes, license, destination charge, and available equipment additional. Chevette is rated at 43 miles per gallon highway, 31 miles per gallon city, with available 1.6-liter engine and manual transmission. EPA estimates actual mileage may vary. No American car has ever sported EPA mileage ratings like these before.
Frank Lieber along with Bob Lilly and Brad Sham at Texas Stadium. Cardinals have the ball, 1st and 10 at their 20-yard line. Cowboys with a couple of golden scoring opportunities here in the third period and couldn't capitalize on them. So it's still 14-7. Hart back to throw. Near sideline toss to Mel Gray. He is hustled out of bounds as he pulls it in at the 25. Pick up a 5 on the play as Benny Barnes makes the stop. 2nd down, 5.
Frank, we're really seeing a team take advantage of the one weakness I think probably the Cowboy defense has, and that's the fact that they are in their flex defense on 1st down. Sometimes they give you a change-up, but most of the day they've been in it, and it's awful hard to get a pass rush, when you're really playing the run as hard as they are.
And they've been throwing consistently on 1st down of the Cardinals. 2nd down, 5. St. Louis from its 25-yard line. 7 points is nothing, of course, for this Cardinal team to make up, so this is still a long way from being over. Here's Metcalf across the right side. Skips over a tackler, fumbles the football at the 32-yard line, but again, the Cardinals alertly pounce on the fumble. Cliff Harris really cut the feet out from underneath Mr. Terry Metcalf. And the fumble recovery was made by offensive tackle Roger Finney. So the Cardinals have it at the 32, and that's enough for a 1st down. Now, there's another opportunity the Cowboys couldn't capture. Remember the fumble near midfield a few moments ago that Cardinals recovered? The Cardinals have 2 turnovers on the Cowboys, both pass interceptions off Roger Staubach. 1st and 10. Officials mark the ball at the St. Louis 33-yard line as Jim Hart brings him up to the line of scrimmage. Starts to call the signals. Hands off to Wayne Morris, who's in the ball game over the right side, and Morris is down at the 38-yard line. Good, hard, solid tackle by Harvey Martin. And too tall Jones, but not before he picked up a good 6 on the play.
Well, Frank, I'll tell you what's happening right now. Both plays, the same thing has happened. Deerdorf has gotten position on Ed Jones, and Ed is actually lined up outside of Deerdorf, but he's able to take advantage of knowing the snap. He's getting outside of Ed, cutting him off, and that's cutting off the pursuit and opening the hole, allowing the back to cut uphill a lot sooner than normal.
2nd down, 4. Cardinals at their 39-yard line. Hart, 11 out of 24. Turns around, hands off. Metcalf caught behind the line, this time by Wiley Jethro Pugh. Loss of the play to the 38-yard line. So that'll put the Cardinals in a 3rd down and a long 5 needed for the 1st.
So that was a super play by Jethro. I think there they thought Jethro was going to go outside. He was in the outside stance that we normally say. Leroy must have given him the call, which we call a lil call. He went inside, and the guard anticipated him going outside, and Jethro was never touched by the offensive guard.
It was Conrad Dobler, the man he beat. 3rd down, 5. Big play for the Cardinals and the Cowboys. St. Louis moving from its own 38-yard line, trying to keep the drive going. Hart. Blitz is on. Back into the pocket. Pass blocked up in the air. Intercepted! Intercepted by the Cowboys at the 29. It was Harvey Martin who made a dive for the ball after the pass was blocked and pulled down the interception. And the Cowboys get their 1st turnover. Boy, that blitz is working great.
That blitz is working great. Of course, we see Larry Cole taking 2 guys out, allowed Charlie Waters to come in. The ball went straight up there, and Harvey Martin was very alert. He dove for the ball, made a great catch, and once again, the Cowboys have got an opportunity to take advantage of the ball game and gain the momentum back that they had coming in after the halftime.
Harvey looked for all the world like a man going off a diving board, making a swan dive as he went after that thing and just pulled it in inches above the ground. 1st and 10, Cowboys from the St. Louis Cardinal 30-yard line. Golden opportunity provided by the defense. Staubach hands off to Preston Pearson, tries the left side. He's caught behind the line and tripped up at the 31-yard line by the right end, John Zook.
Frank, I really don't get the reasoning in this play. Preston just really doesn't have the speed unless you cut down 2 or 3 of the guys. He just doesn't have the speed to make the turn on the outside there, and they continue to run him on that same
play. The gun sounds, and that's the end of the third quarter with the score of the Cowboys 14. The Cardinals 7. Dallas Cowboy football continues in a moment. Frank Lever along with, I'm getting excited. Frank Lever along with Bob Lilly and Brad Sham at Texas Stadium as we head into the final quarter of play. I'm getting wrapped up in this football game, Robert.
Well, I think you are.
When you forget what your name is, you're really in trouble. Right?
We might have to go suit up in a minute.
I think so. Well, you recall in the last play of the third quarter, Pearson lost about 1.5 yards on a sweep around the left side. So the Cowboys moving from left to right now in this final period of play will have the football with a second down and just over 11 yards needed for the first down at the St. Louis Cardinal 31-yard line. Final 15 minutes coming up from Texas Stadium with the NFC Eastern Division lead on the line and possibly the Eastern Division championship. Cowboys win this one. There'll be 2 full games in front of the Cardinals with 2 games to go. I tell you, there are not many no-shows here today, unlike the Monday night game where we had almost 15,000. Mild day in Dallas, cloudy. We've had the occasional drizzle, mist falling. Doesn't seem to be any right now. Here we go. Back to work. Cowboys up to the line of scrimmage. Staubach has Dupree. Flank wide to the right side. He's got Drew Pearson split to the left and Golden Richards in the slot. Preston Pearson and Scott Laidlaw the setbacks. The handoff, Laidlaw, 30, 25, 24-yard line. Goes Laidlaw. A pickup of 7. On the delay up the middle, Bob Bell, the left end defensively for the St. Louis Cardinals, made the stop. That will set up third down for the Cowboys, and they'll need just over 4 yards for the first down.
Well, it was a very fine play, Frank. Of course, they caught the Cardinals a little off guard. Their 2 tackles both rushed outside, and, of course, all he had to do was knock the middle linebacker off a little bit, and we had a pretty good shot there for 5 or 6 yards.
Another big play. Third down and 4 for the Cowboys with the nose of the football just inside the Cardinal 25-yard line. Drew Pearson split left. Roger Staubach back to throw. Sideline toss over the head of Pearson. Staubach let it get away from him, and Pearson never really had a chance on it as the ball really took off, and the Cowboys are put in a long field goal situation. Now, Herrera has kicked once before from 41 yards out and kicked it rather badly and off to the left. Didn't come near to being close. So this attempt with the ball at the 25 will be from the 32-yard line, which will make it a 42-yard field goal attempt for Herrera. And boy, the Cowboys need some points. This is the third time that they have been fairly deep in the Cardinal territory, and they've yet to come up with a single point here in the second half. They're ready. Rafferty will center. Waters waits, puts it down. The kick is up. It is long enough. It is good. Herrera bangs one home from 42 yards away. And the Cowboys up their lead to 17-7. There's a momentary break in the action, so let's pause for this. You're listening to Dallas Cowboys football.
Dr. Pepper, do a original.
Right, please. 14 minutes, 13 seconds left to play in the football game, and that was the first score by either side here in the second half. Third quarter completely scoreless. I'll tell you one thing, I'm pretty impressed with this Cardinal defensive team, Bob. It's been much maligned. I know they lost 5 starters this year due to injuries, and they've hung in there very nicely against the Cowboys.
Well, they sure have. I think that, of course, is overall because of the head coach. Coryell's done an outstanding job since he took over the reins as Cardinal head coach, and their defense has really been decimated by injuries, but they have hung in there. They've been a little weak versus the run, but yet they don't give up that many points, Frank, which means that they get tougher as you go downfield on them.
Terry Metcalf is the deep man standing at the 3-yard line as Herrera prepares to kick off. He's ready, and here we go. Herrera with a spinner, which bounces at the 11-yard line, fielded by Jackie Smith, the tight end up the middle, 25, 30, crosses the 35, and reaches the 37-yard line. Pretty good run back by the big veteran tight end, Jackie Smith, before Aaron Kyle finally made the stop for the Cowboys. It'll be 1st and 10 Cardinals at their 37.
You know, Frank, Jackie Smith is almost my age, and I imagine he's still one of the fastest guys on the field. He was always one of the faster Cardinals, and I understand he hadn't lost much of it.
He's been poisoned to the Cowboys down through the years for many, many seasons. Mel Gray splits off wide to the left side. Mark Washington out to pick him up. Crowd exhorting the Cowboy defense to hold him here. Here's Hart dropping back into the pocket. The rush is on. He gets it away. It is dropped by Mel Gray at the 45. We get a penalty marker thrown. Mark Washington was back there with him. Gray tried to turn around and make the catch at his shoe tops. And there's a pass interference call upcoming. Let's see who it's against. Could be against Gray for pushing off. They're coming back to the line of scrimmage, or will it be? Going on between Gray out there and also Mark Washington. Now we get a preliminary call of holding. Yes, I think it'll be holding rather than the pass interference call. But it'll be defensive holding against the Cowboys, which obviously doesn't hurt them nearly as bad as the pass interference call.
Holding, number 46, defense, first down.
So Mark Washington called for holding Mel Gray. That's a 5-yard walk-off, which moves the ball out to the Cardinal 42-yard line. It'll be first down and 5.
Frank, fellow Mark, I think I'd have been doing the same thing on that particular pattern.
All right, first down, back to throw. Hart looking downfield. This one is intercepted by Benny Barnes at the middle. 30, 35, 40, near sideline to the 50, and knocked out of bounds at the 45-yard line by Tom Banks. The Cardinals center, but Barnes holds that ball high over his head like a trophy. As that time, the intended receiver slipped and fell, and Barnes had a clear shot on it. Now, that's a case where the Cardinals throw that pass so much on timing, Bob, that he releases the ball before the defender turns.
Well, that was a super play for the Cowboys. Yeah, he released the ball before he ever saw him make his break, Frank.
There's a timeout of the field with the score. The Cowboys 17, the Cardinals 7. Dallas Cowboys football continues in a moment.
Saturday, the traditional day of the big game, is now the day of the big treat. Yes, this Saturday, bring your family to Jack in the Box for an after-the-game meal they'll never forget. Try a Jumbo Jack hamburger, a Jack Stick sandwich, a Super Scoop of golden French fries, a Super Taco with Coca-Cola, vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry shake. Those are just a few of the things you'll find at Jack in the Box to make your big treat really big. And with every big treat, you'll get big service. Most Jack in the Box restaurants are open 24 hours a day. And with our drive-through service, you don't even have to get out of your car. After the game, drop into a Jack in the Box for your big treat and make life a little easier.
The Dallas Cowboys, without a turnover for almost 3 quarters, come up with their second big turnover. And again, have excellent field position, and the crowd loves it. First down at the Cardinal 45-yard line, following the pass interception and run back by Benny Barnes. Here's Staubach handing the ball to Dennison. They collide at the line of scrimmage. Dennison still manages to make a yard out of the play, but obviously there was a mix-up in signals over which way Dennison was to go. Gain of 1 yard on the play. It'll be 2nd and 9. Mike Dawson made the stop. Attendance today, 62,498 in-house and 2,422 no-shows. 2nd down, 9. Nose of the football just inside the Cowboy end of the Cardinal 45-yard line. Butch Johnson replacing Golden Richards. There's a handoff. Newhouse over the left side. Escapes the tackle. Moves inside the 40 to the 37-yard line. And that's just a yard away from a first down as Mike sends the ball. Makes the stop, coming up with his safety position for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Frank, the quick-time plays have seemed to work a lot better today, and all that was actually a straight handoff. He angled over to his left side of his offensive line, right off guard there between the guard and tackle. Of course, the entire left side of the Cowboy line did a great job. They just shield blocked the defense, and Newhouse had a hole and took off.
30-second clock running down to 5 seconds as the Cowboys come up to the line of scrimmage. Staubach calls the signals. 3rd down and a yard. He just does get it off. Or does he? No, he did not get it off. The 30-second clock ran out. Delay of game, 5 yards against Dallas. And that's a costly one. Instead of 3rd and 1, it'll be 3rd down 6.
Frank, a lot of that is the fact that they're alternating guards. They're sending the guard in with another play, and he's just not getting in there quick enough. Or back, whoever's alternating right now, bringing in the plays, they're not getting them in quick enough. And Roger really can't call the play until he gets it. He's waiting on the call from Coach Landry.
And moves the ball back to the 41-yard line of the St. Louis Cardinals. 3rd down now and a long 6. Staubach is 10 out of 20 for 83 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. He has not been sacked so far this afternoon. Cowboys would love to play ball control here. 12 minutes, 29 seconds left to play. They lead 17-7. 3rd down 6 at the Cardinal 42-yard line. Here we go. Staubach straight back into the pocket to throw it from out of the tee, and he is going long downfield, intended for Drew Pearson. Pearson trying to get the ball, can't do it at the goal line. Good defensive play by Norm Thompson, as Pearson seemed to have a step on him, and Thompson simply slipped his arm underneath Drew and brought it up and knocked the ball away. 4th down, so the Cowboys get nothing out of that particular turnover.
Now, that was a very important turnover. I think that might have really given the Cowboys the enthusiasm and impetus to go ahead and take this ball game. But right now, they're going to have to fight. We don't know what the Cardinals are going to do. We only know what they're capable of, Frank.
Again, you'll see Danny White, I'm sure, heading for the coffin corner. Metcalf is standing back on the 5-yard line, awaiting the punt. Still lots of time for anything to happen. Not much of a rush by the Cardinals. This time end over end down the far sideline. Henderson steals the ball inside the 5 and downs it at that point. Thomas Henderson fielded that ball on 1 bounce, going in at the 5-yard line, and then just flipped it behind him as if he had just scored a touchdown.
Frank, I'll tell you one thing about Thomas. He thinks extremely fast because he only had a millionth of a second to throw that ball out of bounds before he hit the end zone.
There's a timeout on the field. The score of the Cowboys 17, the Cardinals 7. Dallas Cowboys football continues in a moment.
Here's Rusty Weir and the fabulous Miller Brothers. With you, I drink alone for beer. With a smile and slam in the rodeo's been glad with another full Saturday. Well, I love the ladies and the alone for beer on the rodeo. And if you turn around, here's another clown. There's a whole lot of Babby and green. There's a whole lot of Babby and green. Where my pappy was a rodeo clown. One of the best friends. I'm a hardcore second, I'm a lone for son. It's just like a Babby on a good fun. I said it loud and they should see. There's a whole lot of Babby and green. I said it loud and they should see. There's a whole lot of Babby and green. Oh, Babby was kind and should see. There's a whole lot of Babby and green. Oh, Babby was kind.
Harry Jersey's Lone Star Beer. No place to take it.
Cardinals 1st and 10 at their own 4s, where the officials rule the ball was down. They give to Otis. He gets a yard to the 5-yard line as he tries the right side. Well, short of a score, Bob, you'd have to say the Cowboys got the Cardinals where they want them, and now would be a great time for a turnover.
Well, no doubt about it, Frank. And I've noticed one change in the defense here. I think for all those who are listening, we can tell them that the Cowboy offensive line and the linebackers are doing a lot of shifting right now. They haven't done this throughout the entire game. Now, when the Cardinals get up there, they wait till Hart makes his call, and they start shifting around to confuse them a little bit.
2nd down, 9. Cardinals way deep in their own territory, backed up to their 5-yard line. Jim Hart, straight handoff, gives to Otis, another yard out to the 6th. This time over the left side before he's upended by Bob Brunig. And it'll be 3rd down, 8. And now, if the Cardinals don't come up with a 1st down, they'll be punting from out of their end zone.
Well, we had a very fine defense by the right side of the Cowboy defensive line that time, and also Bob Brunig. They held in there real well. The Cowboys are really changing up their defense a lot, Frank, and also they seem to have a lot more enthusiasm right now than they've had in the past 2 or 3 ball games.
3rd down, 8. Here come the Cardinals. Cowboys go on to their prevent defense. St. Louis moving from its own 6-yard line, deep in the hole. Hart drops back to the end zone to throw it. He sets up strong, floats it deep for J.B. Cade. He's out there, but can't hold it at the 50-yard line. Hart overthrew him at the 50. He was 5 yards behind Cliff Harris. What a break for the Cowboys.
Well, we had a lot of stunning going on, Frank, by our defensive lineman, and I believe that Harvey Martin was probably the man responsible for the pass being just a little bit overthrown. He had a good rush in there, good penetration, got his arms up, and I would believe that he probably got in Hart's eyesight a little bit, line of vision.
That would have been a touchdown, a 94-yard touchdown for the Cardinals. Had Kane been able to hang out of the football. Fourth down now from the 6-yard line, 8 to go. Joyce is backed up 9 yards deep in his end zone to punt. 10 men up on the line of scrimmage for the Cowboys. Snap is a little high. Big rush. They block it. They block it out of the end zone for a safety. It was Henderson who was the first man home who blocked Joyce's punt out of the end zone for a safety.
Well, that was a super rush, Frank, up the middle by Randy White and Thomas Henderson. They just took 3 guys with them, went on in there, blocked the punt, the kicker, and all. In fact, they took 3 or 4 guys into the kicker with them.
There was no question about that. It wasn't even close. Joyce never had a shot at it. As we look at it now on the Magnabox monitor, he was simply smothered. The snap was a little bit high, and by the time he took 1 step, the Cowboys were all over him. And that ball just ricocheted out of the end zone. Thomas Henderson was the first to hit him, crashing across his right knee, and the ball just rolled it out of the end zone for the safety. So the Cowboys get 2 points to make it 19-7, and they'll also get the ball as the Cardinals will put it in play on the free kick from their 20-yard line.
You know, Frank, one thing we've seen today, and I think it's very unusual for a Cowboy team, we've seen 2 plays that you would have never figured the Cowboys would have done. That particular play and the one where Danny White threw the pass on 4th down. And I think these are 2 things. This may show a little bit of the insight in Tom Landry's thinking that he had to have a little bit of action, a little bit of excitement for his players.
I think he'll probably tell you after this football game that at the end of the first half, he probably felt he needed something to ignite his football team because they were playing sluggish. And I think that that fake punt and pass on 4th down, which led to the Cowboy touchdown just before the half, probably was the thing that turned the ball game around. 10 minutes, 48 seconds left to play. Cardinals still not out of it because they're a very explosive team. And 2 touchdowns in this period of time. Not that tough for this ball club. Here's Joyce ready to punt it on the free kick from the 20-yard line from right to left. Butch Johnson waits back at the 20, over the head catch at the 16, up the middle, 25, 30, Johnson, 35, 40, down at the 45-yard line. A good return, and Henderson is shaken up on the play. Henderson getting up slowly for the Cowboys as he was really belted.
Frank, he made a great block. Just one of those things. He probably caught a knee in the face. That happens an awful lot when you are blocking on a kicking team. You have to catch a guy going full speed, and normally it is the knee to the face that gets you. Frank, this game has really turned around. The Cowboys now seem to be fired up. And last week we noticed that, in the 4th quarter they just seemed to fold up. So it's quite a contrast to the game they played last week in the 4th quarter.
Staubach, 10 out of 21 for 83 yards as he brings them up to the line of scrimmage. 1st and 10 from his own 45. Handoff, Preston Pearson gets a yard up the middle. And the hole closes rather quickly by the St. Louis Cardinals. Mike Dawson, number 73, has played a great game in the defensive line for St. Louis. Making the stop. The clock continues to roll with 10 minutes and 20 seconds left to play in the football game. Dallas leading 19-7.
We have sort of a cross-buck play then, Frank, where they sent one back to the left offensively and Preston up the middle. But these plays seem to be a little bit slow. They haven't worked all day.
Pearson and Robert Newhouse are the setbacks in the eye. Now they go to the regular split in the backfield. On 2nd down, 9, Newhouse tries the left side, reaches the 47. Maybe 2 yards on that play. It'll be 3rd down, 7. And Tom Landry's going to have to probably put the ball in the air here, being a little bit conservative once again. Try to pick up some yardage on the ground.
Well, they tried one of their best plays then, that last play. It was the play that goes over the left side of the line, given to Newhouse the time before that he carried the ball on that particular play. He made about 8 or 9 yards. That time, we just couldn't move him out of there, Frank.
Butch Johnson wide to the left side. Pearson is split to the right. Dupree in the slot off to the right. In the shotgun as the Cowboys bring it up. 3rd down, 7. Direct snap to Staubach. Good protection. Steps up into the pocket. Now he's rushed out of it. Rolls to his right. Still looking downfield. Still looking. Now he's going to run it. He's out to the 50-yard line. Tries to pick up the 1st down and is stopped just short. I believe at the Cardinal 46-yard line. And Roger took a pretty good pop right in front of the Cardinal bench. Immediately beneath us by Mike Sensabaugh. He gets up immediately, takes a look at the first down marker, and finds that he is 1 yard short.
Well, there's one thing about Roger coming into this game we weren't wrong about, Frank, and that's the fact that if he doesn't have someone open, he's going to run it. He's back to his old self of 2 or 3 years ago now.
Cowboys will play it safe here and go for the punt on 4th down and 1 at the Cardinal 46. Clock moving with 8 minutes and 30 seconds left to play. One big plus for the Cowboys. They have been kicking the ball away from Terry Metcalf, and Metcalf has not had anywhere near as spectacular a day as he's had in the past. Danny White awaits the snap. It is good. Cardinals peel back for return. Nice high punt. Deep toward the far sideline. Metcalf fields it at the 3-yard line. Coming out of it. He's coming to the near sideline to the 10. Look out. He's to the 15, to the 20-yard line, and White runs him down at the 25. Well, that's something you normally never do. Field the punt inside your 5, but Metcalf, apparently feeling that his team needed a spark, did just that and almost broke it. He took it out to the 28-yard line. Timeout on the field with the score. The Cowboys 19, the Cardinals 7. Dallas Cowboys football continues in a moment. Back once again at Texas Stadium. The Cardinals have the football. The officials mark it at the St. Louis 29, 1st and 10. After a 26-yard run back by Terry Metcalf, who almost broke it. Danny White saved the touchdown on the tackle. Here we go. St. Louis ready to put the ball in the play, and they'll have to put it upstairs quick. Here's Hart, back to throw. Lines up, far sideline, almost intercepted. It is Bill Gray making the reception at the 40, and he's run out of bounds near midfield. Bob Brunig went high in the air, looked for a moment like he could pull it down. It was over his head, and Gray made the reception at the Cardinal 40-yard line and carried it to the 47. First down, St. Louis.
Well, I think we're in the very dangerous area of the Cardinal past here, Frank. In the last 5 games, I think they've won 4 of those games in the last 7 or 8 minutes of the 4th quarter. We're getting a little bit more aggressive now in the air, and I think we're going to see a lot more passing from Hart. Hart has thrown it 28 times, completed 12 for 134 yards. He's had 2 intercepted, so has Staubach. 1st and 10. Cardinals moving from their 47-yard line. Hart, handoff to Wayne Morris across the 50, down to the 44-yard line of Dallas. And that's going to be very close to a first down as Leroy Jordan makes the stop. Let's pause 15 seconds for station identification. This is the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Cowboys, this is KRLD Dallas.
2nd down and a yard. St. Louis Cardinals are at the 44-yard line of the Dallas Cowboys. They trail 19-7. Jim Hart calls the signals. Fakes to Wayne Morris. He's going for the bomb. Intended for Mel Gray at the goal line. Just overthrown. Gray had 2 steps on Benny Barnes, but Hart put a little bit too much on it. And Gray couldn't run underneath it in the far corner at the goal line.
You know, I've noticed one thing here, Frank. Hart is not setting up quite as deep as he normally does. And on that particular play, we didn't have a very good rush. We had a little penetration, and I believe the Cardinal offensive line was fairly close to Hart. I think he had a little bit of a problem there seeing over his offensive line. It looked like he didn't set up quite the normal 8 yards that he generally does.
Gray comes out of the ball game, replaced by a tight end on the 3rd down, short yardage situation. 3rd and 1, Cardinals at the Cowboy 44. They'll try to pick up the first down here, I'm sure, to keep the drive going. Hart hands off to Wayne Morris. He breaks a tackle at the line of scrimmage and carries to the 35-yard line of the Cowboys. First down. Keep in mind that the Cardinals need 2 touchdowns to win this football game because of the safety in the field goal. A touchdown and a field goal won't help them. They've got to score 7 points and do it twice. And the clock moving against them now, showing 6 minutes and 45 seconds left to play and counting as they have a first down at the Dallas 35. Mike Harris wide to the left side for the St. Louis Cardinals as Jim Hart calls the signals, steering the Cardinals downfield. Hart faking to Wayne Morris. Pass deflected. Incomplete. One of the linemen tipped it as it came out and caused it to go off target. It was intended for Ike Harris at about the 20-yard line. Mark Washington was back there covering.
Frank, I think that gives you an indication of, Hart is not very tall and how low his passes are. And I think that is one of the things that we talked about, earlier in the game, is the fact that if Cowboys can get penetration and get in front of his line of vision, that we've got a chance. I think that was Bill Gregory, though, that blocked that one.
2nd down, 10. Cardinals at the Cowboy 35. Cowboy defense digging in with 6.5 minutes left to play in the football game. They're looking for Hart to throw it. He steps back into the pocket again. He looks downfield. He pumps once. He throws it to the far sideline. It is incomplete. Intended for Mel Gray. Gray was tripped up by Ben Barnes at about the 15-yard line. Barnes went sprawling We looked up and saw Ben down in the field and saw Gray angling for the far corner, but the pass wasn't anywhere close. So it'll be 3rd down 10.
Well, Frank, again, as we saw earlier or a few minutes ago, Hart is throwing purely on timing, and I think Benny Barnes was the man instrumental in that play. He knocked Gray off his stride, and of course Gray never could get tracked, and he cleared the ball before he could make his cut.
Crowd comes alive as the Cardinals bring it up to the line of scrimmage. 3rd down 10 from the Dallas 35. Cowboy defense trying to hold him. Dallas leading 19-7 here in the 4th period of play with the Cardinals threatening. Here's Hart back to throw. The blitz is on. He's back. He's back at the 46. Hill and Kyle. It's Cliff Harris blitzing. Hill, Jim Hart in the trap back at the 46. A loss of 11. Randy Hughes also came barreling through there as the Cowboys had the maximum blitz on. Aaron Kyle shaken up slightly on his feet and getting ready to leave the field, and we have an official timeout now. They'll bring the trainers out to take a look at Aaron. There's a momentary break in the action, so let's pause for this. You're listening to Dallas Cowboys football. 4th down and long for the Cardinals. They need 20 with the ball back at their 45-yard line, and Terry Joyce in to do the punting. His last one was blocked on him. The Cowboys have 10 men up front again. Now Thomas Henderson peels back about 5 yards. And a fumble by Joyce. He picks it up and runs it, and he is cornered back at the 42-yard line. Well, maybe the punt being blocked a moment ago unnerved him because he bobbled that snap from center, and Jay Soldy was in there quickly to drop him for the loss back at the 42-yard line at St. Louis.
Frank, another great break for the Cowboys. They've had many of them today. They've not been able to capitalize on all of them, but they are up by considerably quite a few points, and the fact is that they continue to make these plays, and somehow you sort of feel that Lady Luck may be smiling on them.
Doomsday Jr. strikes again, and the Cowboys have a 1st down as they take over the ball at the St. Louis Cardinal 42-yard line, just under 6 minutes to go. Pitch out, Preston Pearson wide to the right side. Pearson turns the corner, out of bounds at the 35-yard line. After picking up 6, maybe 7 yards on the play, Mike Sensabaugh, the Cardinal safety, made the stop.
Well, Frank, I guess the odds finally catch up with you. That play was fairly successful. In fact, very successful. They've been running that play. I guess they've run it 4 or 5 times today. And the thing that happened on that particular play was that we did get great blocks out of our tight end and our offensive tackles. We cut off the pursuit, and our leading back knocked the halfback or the cornerback out, which gave Preston room to run. And he's very good, as I said, when he gets an open field.
2nd down, a long 3 for the 1st down. Cowboys at the Cardinal 35-yard line. And off, Robert Duhaus tries the left side, caught behind the line, breaks a tackle by Arneson, just fighting and struggling to get back to the line of scrimmage. He may have reached that point, but that's all, as Arneson credited with the tackle on the play.
Looked like there was some sort of a timing problem there on that play. Newhouse hasn't played that much this year, Frank, and the timing just wasn't that good on the handoff, and I think that fraction of a second is what got him in trouble on that play.
Loss of a yard. That'll make it 3rd down 4. Be interesting to see here if Landry elects to go for the pass or the run, which even if not successful would keep the clock moving. And that clock is moving against the St. Louis Cardinals now with just over 5 minutes left to play in the football game. Dallas leading 19-7. 3rd down 4 from the 36. Staubach rolling out to his right. Rogers going to run, trying to pick up the 1st down, and he does. I believe he's got enough for it. There's a fumble on the play. A loose football. Let's see who came up with it. The Cardinals recover the fumble at the 31-yard line. And Staubach is up off the pile, and he's arguing with one of the officials. But St. Louis recovered the fumble at the 31-yard line. So the Cardinal offense will get back into operation once again.
Frank, there's the obvious disadvantage to having a running quarterback, because you do get the entire team after him, and they're going to hit him as hard as they can, and they're going to have plenty of guys over there with him. And of course, he's not a running back. He's not used to taking the punishment, and that's one of the things that can happen to you when you have a running quarterback.
1st and 10. Mel Gray wide to the right side. Barnes picks him up. Pike Harris is split to the left. Mark Washington on him. Cardinals from their own 32-yard line. Hart back to throw. Cowboys trying to get to him. The pass over the middle is caught by J.V. Kane for the 1st down at the 43-yard line. Pickup of 12 yards on the play. Leroy Jordan and Charlie Waters making the stop.
Well, the Cardinals stayed with their initial game plan. They've extended their passage just a little bit. They're throwing for the 12 to 15-yard range right now, whereas early in the game on first down they were throwing 7 and 8-yard range. And I think that's because Hart wants to get on down the field as fast as he can. He knows he's got to score to get them back in the ball game.
First and 10, Cardinals. Ball spotted at their 44. Clock moving. 4 minutes, 15 seconds left to play in the game. Dallas leading 19-7. Hart dropping back to throw. Blitz is on. He gets the pass away. It is caught by Harris. At the Cowboy 40, he's down at the 35-yard line. Cowboys had D.D. Lewis blitzing from the right side. He almost got to Hart. Leroy Jordan making the stop, but the Cardinals penetrating deep into Dallas territory again. As the officials mark it at the Dallas 35, again, the clock continues to move with 3 minutes and 50 seconds left to play in the game, and the Cardinals need to score not 1, but 2 touchdowns to pull this one out. Hart sends Gray wide to the right side. He's got Ike Harris split to the left. He's 14 out of 33 this afternoon. 2 steps back for Hart. Looking to the far sideline. He hits Mel Gray, and he's rushed out of bounds at the 26-yard line by Benny Barnes. And Barnes and Gray exchange a few words in front of the Cowboy bench. That stops the clock with 3:28 left to play.
I don't think there's any friendships out there right now. They're all going for the money, and they're going for the championship, and I don't. There shouldn't be. But I think the one thing that's been very obvious is the fact that we haven't had an outstanding pass rush against Hart today. We've had a very good pass rush when we blitz, but when you blitz, you're always vulnerable. And the play before last, D.D. Lewis had a great blitz, but I think Mark Washington slipped a little bit and was unable to recover on the play.
First down for the St. Louis Cardinals at the Dallas Cowboy 24-yard line. Here's Hart. Back to throw it again. Cowboys trying to get to him over the middle. Deflected. Metcalf trying to find it and almost intercepted by Harvey Martin. Metcalf was juggling that thing left and right, trying to find the handle. It was finally batted away, and Harvey, who intercepted one earlier, made a dive for it and couldn't quite reach it. Incomplete.
Cowboys had very, very good coverage on that pass play, and of course he's like most quarterbacks. Hart is. Frank, in the latter stages of the game, when you got to have the points, you always go to your proven receivers and your proven backs, and of course that's what he's doing right now. He's going to Mel Gray a lot, going to Terry Metcalf a lot, and I think that's what we're going to see from here on out.
Second down 10. Cardinals at the Cowboy 24. Cowboy defense dig it in with 3 minutes and 21 seconds left to play in the game. Dallas leading 19-7. Here's Wayne Morris on the draw, caught at the line of scrimmage. Great defensive play by Harvey Martin, who just reached that right arm around and nearly took Wayne's head off and dropped him at the line of scrimmage for no gain. A costly play because the clock keeps moving, and it's now 3 minutes and 5 seconds and counting.
Well, that's certainly the kind of play the Cowboys needed in this particular situation, Frank, because they do have a lead, and Harvey was really rushing the passer that time. He did get his right arm over and caught the running back by the head and pulled him down. It was a super play by Harvey Martin.
All right, third down 10. Big play for the Cardinals at the Dallas 24 with 2 minutes and 40 seconds left to play in the game. Jim Hart back to throw. Cowboy rushes on. Hart puts it over the middle of Wayne Morris at the 20. Morris caught from behind at the 18-yard line. Well short of the first down by defensive back Aaron Kyle. That puts the Cardinals in a fourth down and about 4 situation, and undoubtedly they'll go for it here. The clock moving, and it might run all the way down to the 2-minute warning.
We had an extremely good rush then by our defensive line, especially the interior of the line. We had what we call a cha-cha, which is a stunt between the two tackles. Bill Gregory grabbed 2. Larry Cole came around. They put a lot of pressure on Hart. It made him throw the ball short.
Fourth down 4 for the Cardinals at the Cowboy 19. 2 minutes, 2 seconds left. Hart back to throw. Rolling to his right, gets the pass away. Gray has it at the 10. He's to the 5. He scores! Bill Gray, cutting across the middle, scores with 1 minute, 55 seconds left to play. And spikes the ball this time in front of Harvey Martin, who has a few words to say to him.
Well, Frank, there's one of the dangers of the blitz. We've been very lucky tonight on the blitz, and of course, I think Tom had about 8 guys coming on that one, and sometimes you just miss the quarterback, and when you do, you generally have a man wide open, and of course, Hart found him.
Locking on to try the extra point, which would make it 19-14, with 1 minute 55 to go, and then obviously we'll be looking for the onside kick. Here's the kick. It is up. It is good. There's a timeout on the field with the score. The Cowboys 19, and the Cardinals 14. Dallas Cowboys football continues in a moment.
When along came a spider. Along came a spider.
Spider, a road machine that'll get up and get after it. It's a Chevy Monza 2 Plus 2 Plus. Plus steel-belted Blackwall radial tires and a sports steering wheel. Plus the special Chevy F41 sports suspension package. Plus a lot of other good things. Get it together with the available 5-liter V8 engine. Buckle to a stick shift or automatic transmission. Add front and rear spoilers, and you've got your hands on a Spider. It's not for everybody, but if the velvet beat up of V8 is playing tunes in your head, then it's for you. Along came a Monza Spider from Chevrolet. See what that does for your curtain way.
Frank Lieber along with Bob Lilly and Brad Sham at Texas Stadium, and we're going right down to the wire in this battle for the NFC Eastern Division lead. Cowboys looking for the almost certain onside kick from the St. Louis Cardinals with 1:55 to go. All timeouts left on both sides. The Cardinals have 3 left, and the Cowboys have 3 timeouts left. And Jim Bakken and his teammates huddled back around the 35-yard line discussing the strategy on this onside kick. Cowboys will try to cover it and perhaps pick up a first down or two and run out the clock, because you'd certainly hate to give the ball back to Jim Hart and the Cardinals the way they can move it, and with the history they have in the final 2 minutes of football games. That last Cardinal touchdown, of course, set up in a sense when Roger Staubach fumbled at the 31-yard line of St. Louis, trying to pick up a first down. Cardinals took it over and marched down the field. Mel Gray on the reception end of the touchdown pass. Cowboys have nothing but linebackers, defensive backs up front. They're looking for the onside kick. They do have Butch Johnson as a single safety standing back at about the 12-yard line just in case Bakken tries to kick it away, which would mean the Cardinals have a lot of faith in their defense. Here it comes. He does kick it away. Line drives it toward the end zone and on into the end zone and out of the end zone for the touchback. So the Cowboys will take over on the 20-yard line, and of course the clock does not stop until the ball is touched by anyone, so there's still 1:55 remaining. I'm a little surprised, aren't you? They didn't try the outside, Bob. What do you think?
Well, Frank, I think they probably wanted to, but, the Cowboys had everybody but one man up within 20 yards of where he could have possibly kicked it, and all they could have done, really, in my opinion, was give the Cowboys better field position, because I think the Cowboys were in a position that they would have gotten the ball on the 30 or 40-yard line anyway.
1st and 10 for the Cowboys, who will try to run the clock down some here. Roger Staubach hands off Preston Pearson, tries the right side, caught behind the line of scrimmage and buried at the 16-yard line for a loss of 4, and the Cardinals use their first timeout to stop the clock with 1:47 to go. Mike Sensabaugh and Tim Kearney making the stop. Cardinals have called time, so they have 2 left. Cowboys 19, Cardinals 14. Everyone predicted this one would go right down to the finish, and that's exactly the case. And the one thing the Cowboys don't want to do is give the ball back to the Cardinals, and if they do give the ball back to the Cardinals, they don't obviously want to give them any timeouts. So at the very least, the Cowboys want the Cardinals to use up their timeouts on this particular Dallas offensive series. When play is back in, the Cowboys will have a 2nd down and 13 upcoming from their own 17-yard line with 1:47 to play. Roger Staubach, 10 out of 21, only 82 yards in the passing department. He's had 2 intercepted. Kind of an average day so far for Roger, but I think the specialty teams have helped turn it around in some big plays, including that pass off the fake punt formation in the last minute of the first half, which led to a Cowboy touchdown. Time back in. Cowboys up to the line of scrimmage. Staubach would like a little quiet on 2nd down, 13. Laidlaw and Pearson, the running backs. Here's a straight handoff. Laidlaw up the middle, back to the 20-yard line. Picked up the 3 they lost on the previous play as the Cardinals try to wrestle the ball loose. And now St. Louis calls another timeout to stop the clock. There's time out of the field with the score.
Cowboys 19, Cardinals 14. Dallas Cowboys football continues in a moment.
Now it's Sanger Harris, Seacoast ultra-thin quartz watch. It combines the most elegant men's and ladies' styling with the most accurate timekeeping. These battery-powered timepieces remain amazingly accurate without any winding. Come to Sanger Harris and see Seacoast, the quartz watch that's so precise, it's actually changing the world's standard of accuracy.
Let Freeds put the lively look of living in your home. There are super buys on name brand furniture in every department. Something for every need. Freeds offers a wide selection of styles in contemporary, early American, Mediterranean, traditional, and casual. At 5 convenient Freeds locations in Dallas and Irving.
1 minute, 42 seconds left to play at Texas Stadium. In this Thanksgiving Day heartstopper, the Dallas Cowboys have a 3rd down 10 upcoming at their 20-yard line. The Cardinals have just 1 timeout left. So if all goes as expected, I doubt seriously the Cowboys will put the ball in the air. They'll try to keep it inbounds and keep the clock running and force the Cardinals to call their final timeout. And then they'll have to give the ball back to the Cardinals, but they won't have any timeouts left. Here's Staubach, got him in the shotgun. So let's see what happens. 3rd and 10. Offside on St. Louis looks to be the case. Staubach fumbled the snap, and the ball went rolling free, but the whistle sounded prior to the snap of the ball from center. See if the Cardinals were drawn off or the Cowboys were drawn off. Well, against the Cowboys. The Cardinals were pulled offside by the Cowboys. Ball has moved back to the 15-yard line. It's now 3rd down 15. The Cardinals going with a prevent defense of their own. They put a couple of defensive backs in there. Dwayne Crump comes in. So does Clarence Duran.
Legal procedure, number 62 offense.
Called against the center, John Fitzgerald. 1 minute, 39 seconds left to play in the game. 3rd down, 15 for the Cowboys from their 15-yard line.
You know, Frank, that's an odd call because there's no way he could be in motion unless he was late.
Again, the Cowboys come up with a shotgun, and everybody in the stadium holds their breath. Good snap to Staubach. Fades back to throw. Runs up the middle. He's out to the 10, 15, still looking. He wants to stay in bounds, but Cannon has finally run out of bounds at the 22-yard line. I'm surprised he hesitated as much as he did. I thought he'd just take straight up upfield.
Mark, I sort of looked for it myself. I think that was a design play that was set up. You and I talked during the break, and I felt like that Roger was going to be the one to run it. I don't think they wanted to put the ball in the air, but I felt like that they would like to probably see him run it and maybe try to get a first down.
In essence, though, it gives the Cardinals a free timeout because he did run for the near sideline and go out of bounds. So the Cardinals still have a timeout left. Danny White will be punting from back at his 5-yard line, and now it's the Cardinals who have 10 men on the line of scrimmage ready to rush. Terry Metcalf in single safety. Standing back at his 40. Cardinals should come up with pretty good field position. They're playing return all the way. Nice high punt by Danny White. Fair catch signal by Metcalf at the 37-yard line of St. Louis. And the Cardinals have put it in play at their 37 with 1 minute 23 left in the game and 1 timeout left. And now the roar goes up for doomsday. It's up to the Cowboy defense to stop him. They don't need a field goal this time. They've got to have the touchdown. Same situation the Cardinals were in last Sunday against Washington when they got the ball back with about this much time to play.
Frank, we've got Mel Renfro in at cornerback also. I don't think he's made an appearance here today.
1st and 10. Here come the Cardinals from their 37-yard line, trailing 19-14. Back to throw. Goes Jim Hart. Sets up. Gets the pass away. Far sideline. It is incomplete. Incomplete at the 50-yard line. He hesitated for a moment because it looked as if the ball might have been caught by Mel Gray, but the officials really trapped it in front of the Cowboy bench.
Well, a great pass rush then, Frank. The Cowboys, of course, know what's facing them. They don't have to worry about the run anymore. They don't have to get in the run defense that they play a lot of the time, and they're going to go after Hart, so we'll see what happens.
Gray was there. The pass was just underthrown. Here the crowd chanting defense down the background. 2nd down 10. Cardinals at their 37-yard line. Harris to the left side. Gray to the right. Jim Hart back to throw it. Here comes the rush. Hart sets up. Floats it out to Wayne Morris. It's short. Incomplete. Aaron Kyle was back defending. It'll be 3rd and 10 for the Cardinals. At their 37 with a minute 10 left to play in the ballgame. The Cardinals still have one timeout left.
Right now, Frank, the big difference in the Cowboy team is the fact that they're getting a great pass rush for that defensive line. They're using a lot of stunts in there, and on that particular play, we had the 2 tackles going outside, the ends coming in, and we had a good rush by both Harvey Martin and Ed Jones.
Again, the champ rises from the stands beneath this defense as the Cardinals prepare to break their huddle. 3rd down, 10. St. Louis from its 37-yard line. With a minute 10 left to play, they have to have a touchdown. Hart has it up to the line of scrimmage. Bends down under the center. Starts to call the signals. Backs up to throw. Gets the pass away over the middle. It is incomplete at the 45-yard line. Charlie Waters with a fine defensive play on J.B. Kane. And it is 4th and 10. And the last gasp now for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Well, this was putting a lot of pressure on the quarterback, Frank. There's no question about that. On that particular play, we had super coverage out of Charlie Waters. He made a great play. I think Hart is hesitating to throw the ball long because we have been getting a very fine rush on the first 2 downs. So right now, I think mainly he's interested in making the first down.
Benches on both sides on their feet as the Cardinals come up to the line of scrimmage. 4th and 10 at their own 37. They have to have at least the first down here to keep the drive going. Hart barks the signals. Back to throw. The rush is on. He sets up. He drills it over the middle. It's caught by Harris at the 45 of Dallas. Down at the 41-yard line by Mark Washington. First down for the Cardinals. And the Cardinals use their final timeout to stop the clock with 54 seconds left to play in the game. There's a timeout on the field with the score. The Cowboys 19, the Cardinals 14. Jim Hart has conferred with his coach Don Coryell at the near sidelines and is now back in the huddle. As the Cardinals have a first down at the Cowboy 40-yard line, no timeouts left. And 54 seconds showing on the clock, so he'll either have to go for the whole thing or go for the sideline throw. Get the ball out of bounds quickly to stop the clock. Crowd roaring, many of them on their feet here, as are both benches. As Hart starts to call the signals for the St. Louis Cardinals. Back to throw. He goes for the far sideline. The pass is caught, and Gray is out of bounds at the 13. Bill Gray out of bounds at the 13-yard line. It is 1st and 10 for the Cardinals with 48 seconds to go. Benny Barnes and Cliff Harris make the stop.
Frank, we had a super play. We had a good rush on Hart. Hart just right back and threw the ball on timing. We had great coverage, and he made the catch anyway and put him right on down there in the contention for a touchdown and a win.
Double coverage that time on Mel Gray. He still beat it to make the catch. No timeouts left for the Cardinals. 48 seconds showing on the clock. St. Louis with a first down at the Dallas 13-yard line. Hart has him up to the line of scrimmage. He's ready to go. He backs up the throw. Cowboys trying to get to him. He pumps it once. He rolls out to his right, gets the pass away for Cade, and is incomplete in the end zone. The ball hung in the air just momentarily, and it gave Mel Renfro and Cliff Harris enough time to get there and bat it away. A Hart stopper. 2nd down, 10 to go from the 13. Well, this is St. Louis and Washington last Sunday all over again from about this same point. The Cardinals had 4 shots at it and could not complete a pass in 4 downs. And Hart is trying to pull it out again. Cowboys 19, Cardinals 14. 41 seconds left. Up come the Cardinals to the line of scrimmage. 2nd and 10. From the 13-yard line of the Dallas Cowboys. Gray to the right side, Harris to the left. Hart is ready. Under the center, backs up to throw. Looks to the far side. He's got Metcalf at the 10. Metcalf out of bounds at the 8-yard line. No, he did not get out. He did not get out of bounds. 30 seconds and counting. So now the Cardinals have to regroup quickly and get back up to the line of scrimmage. They'll run a play without using a huddle from the 8-yard line. 3rd down and 4. 20 seconds left to play in the game. The clock continues to move. Back to throw goes Hart. He looks over the middle. He throws it. It is incomplete. Intended for Kane. Harris. On the coverage. It is fourth down. And again we go down to the final down with 13 seconds left to play in the game. 4th and 4 for the first down. 8 for the touchdown for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Frank, keep talking.
I can't.
I don't know if I can say anything or not. My heart's up in my throat.
This is it. This is for all the marbles. 4th down. 4 for the first down. 7 yards. Call it for the touchdown as the Cardinals come up to the line of scrimmage with 13 seconds to go. Hart leads him up. Hands under the center. He's ready. He looks around. He backs up to throw. He looks. He gets it away. The pass is incomplete. It is no good. And the Cowboys take over with 8 seconds left to play. The Cowboys are jubilant. They are bouncing up and down. The crowd is on its feet roaring. The Cowboys will take over. The 4th down pass was nowhere near the intended receiver, who was Mel Gray. It looked like Hart finally just had to throw it just to get rid of the ball before he was sacked.
Frank, I think that was the case, but I think the jubilation that we see out there right now among the Cowboys trying to get off the field shows us that the Cowboys have now got that enthusiasm back. And what a game. What a game this has been.
8 seconds left to play. Cardinals with no timeouts. All the Cowboys have to do is sit on the football for one play. And Dallas will have a 2-game lead over St. Louis in the battle for the NFC Eastern Division crown. And, of course, the Cardinals now in bad shape really for making the playoffs at all because they have the same record as the Washington Redskins, but the Redskins are one up on them on the tiebreaker, having beaten the Cardinals twice this season. So if the Redskins win their remaining games and the Cardinals win theirs, St. Louis, despite being tied for second place in the one-loss record, would not make the playoffs. I have never been so exhausted during a ball game.
I can imagine. We've had one outstanding game here, and I think we've got to give an awful lot of credit to the Cowboy secondary. They've come in there in this last half, and after last week's game, they've come back, they've bounced back, they've covered the Cardinals, who are probably the hardest team to cover, and they've done a super job of it.
Roger Staubach up to the line of scrimmage. Cardinals have 10 men on the line. Staubach simply hands onto the football. Clock ticks away to 5 seconds, 4 seconds, 3 seconds. Now, clock round, counts it off. There it is. Cowboys win it, 19-14, and move out into a 2-game lead. In the National Football Conference Eastern Division race, quite a battle between two outstanding football teams, and the crowd that made it out to Texas Stadium this afternoon got their money's worth because they saw quite a game. So the Cowboys now with a 10-day breather to look forward to, and they'll play the Philadelphia Eagles a week from Sunday and attempt to wrap up the Eastern Division on that day. This is Frank Lieber along with Bob Lilly, Brad Sham, and our producer Gary Brad saying thanks for joining us. Stay tuned now for the postgame show. Again, our final score, the Cowboys 19 and the Cardinals 14.
Today's broadcast is brought to you by ClassicBaseballBroadcasts.com, your one-stop destination for thousands of authentic, vintage radio game broadcasts, interviews and highlights. Red Barber, Mel Allen, Vin Scully, Ernie Harwell, Kurt Godey are just a few of the Ford Frick Award-winning voices. There are hundreds more that will bring back childhood memories from back in the day when the game was always on. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd, relive the moments that made Baseball America's favorite pastime. Get started for free and step back in time listening to baseball's greatest moments.